Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first ever EcoSolar home tour in Lethbridge, Alberta. We're really happy to be opening in Lethbridge today. This is the first time we've been able to see homes from Lethbridge, and we've got some really interesting homes to show you today. So this is our first virtual tour. Whoops, sorry, I went too far. This 2021 is the first time we've ever done a virtual tour. So we are having some interesting times with that. We want to thank all of our homeowners, especially for putting their homes up for the tour. And we also want to thank our Zoom helpers who are on the call today. Want to thank our concierge who helps the homeowners get set up. That's Lee Bond. We want to thank our quizmaster, Gordon Howell. We want to thank our chat help. It's Adrian Ebsary. Visitor services today is Shelley Robichaud. And on social media, we have Kevin Brown monitoring social media to see what's happening and to give us feedback from some of the other places people can watch the tour today. Also want to thank our Lethbridge sponsors. Our silver sponsors in Lethbridge are Inotech Windows and Doors, who make European-style tilt and turn windows here in Canada. Also want to thank the Solar Club. Solar Club is a very interesting group of energy retailers, including Camrose Energy, who you see is also a sponsor, who offer high rate energy prices in the summer, which actually has great benefit to people who have a lot of solar on their homes. Greener Homes, who is a net zero energy builder in the Lethbridge area, who we'll hear from in just a few minutes, and Camrose Energy, a competitive energy retailer who also offers services in the Lethbridge area. So on our online tour today, we're going to have 40 minutes for each home. We'll start with a presentation on the home, perhaps a video or a live presentation, and then we will go into questions with the homeowners. If you have a question for the homeowners, you need to chat your question to the quizmaster, and you can find their name, #, quizmaster, when you go in and look for the in the chat box. Participants will normally be muted, and we'll normally have everybody's videos off. So that's just to prevent disruption to the meeting. So we are here today to listen to the experiences of our homeowners. Participants will remain muted unless recognized during questions, and we're only going to be taking questions by chat. So there won't be any opportunity to speak during this meeting unless you're one of the homeowners or the hosts. So we'd like everybody to remember to address everyone respectfully, including in the chat. We're not here to criticize the homeowners' experiences. This is about their experience, and we're here to learn from them. So we're not here to criticize what their experience is. We're here to listen to what they have to say and take that into our own way of thinking and in our own research into energy efficient technologies. We're also here not to criticize any of the technologies presented. The people who are presenting these technologies have done their research and done their work, and this is what they are experiencing. So we're not here to criticize that. This is us to find out what other people are doing. We're also need to be aware that we are not to distract the conversation away from the tour. If we're not talking about energy efficient homes, then that will be a distraction, and anybody who is not following our guidelines may be removed. It's at our discretion, and we have had to remove a few people in the last couple of sessions of the tour. So today, Saturday, June 19th, in Lethbridge, we have 5 homes today. We have 4 of them are net zero energy homes. One is a net zero ready home. We'll be spending 40 minutes on each of these homes. What we're going to start with, though, is we're going to start with a little video from the Edmonton tour. And all of the homes that we're going to be seeing in Lethbridge today are new homes. So what I thought I would do was step back to the Edmonton tour and look at one of the videos we had from It was called the Beaumont Urban Farm. And what this lady has done is she's actually created in the town of Beaumont, just south of Edmonton, a vibrant farm, and is working at renovating and updating her home. So let's spend 10 minutes and hear from the Beaumont Urban Farm, and that'll be part of our introduction.
Hi there, and welcome to the Echo Solar Home Tour. My name is Andrew Mills, and today we'll be talking about an urban farm in Beaumont, Alberta. With me today is Tara Pombert, who's the homeowner of the home. Welcome to the Echo Solar Home Tour, Tara.
Hi, thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Now, your home is an example of an energy-efficient home that features a 5-kilowatt solar array, and it has an extensive permaculture garden. So give me a bit of background on why you chose to build your home like this. What were the main things you were trying to accomplish?
Well, I chose this home because it had a really good location and great sun exposure for gardening, and of course was the right price. I've always been interested in finding ways to be part of the shift towards sustainable living. Energy, food, and waste are three of the big factors that need to be decentralized and expanded in order to create sustainable cities. This home is an ongoing personal and now business project to be as self-sustaining as possible in an urban setting through renovating and upgrading an older home. Reducing energy costs and having the security of providing some of my own energy and contributing to the energy grid has always been a goal of mine. And I'm continually upgrading this home and hope to add in drain recovery system, heat recovery system, an additional solar array with a solar covered car park, and hopefully a gray water system of some sort, and eventually upgrading the exterior walls as well.
Interesting. So just give us a background. What's the EnerGuide rating of your home?
So my EnerGuide rating was rated at 74 of 100. It was tested in 2001 or 2011. I'd like to get retesting done as I have since upgraded the attic. But the first testing was done when I took advantage of the Eco Energy Home Retrofit Grant program in 2010 to 2011. They measured the before and after, and I believe my home was around 58 out of 100 before the upgrades. I replaced the windows, added attic insulation to R50, added a high efficiency furnace, and replaced an exterior door and put in new weather stripping. At that time, I didn't know very much about things that could be done to increase efficiencies, but after being part of the Eco Solar Home Tours and visiting more of the homes, I've been learning about other options to look into and will be working towards including them in the future.
Well, I love the plug for the tour. Thank you very much, and hopefully be able to see lots of good things on this tour as well. So now let's take a look at some of the pictures. So what would you say is the standout feature of your home?
Definitely the solar panels and the garden tend to stand out. I also really love and I love my solar system in part, especially because like the online, being able to look at it online was like a big draw for me when I first got it. I would be online every day, like checking sort of like what my solar panels were doing. So that was just a really fun feature to getting solar. Another feature I love is just sort of the upgrades I've been doing on the interior of my home. So I like finding ways to reuse secondhand products. So like I often get secondhand doors like you see in this picture from Habitat for Humanity, Restore. So these doors in this home went right up to the ceiling. So replacing those would have been really expensive and hard to find. So I have replaced them with now these reused doors, which is kind of cool. Each door is different, and it's kind of a fun way to reuse fixtures and materials and be a little bit more eco-friendly, I guess. Yeah.
So when we build energy efficient homes, we make a series of choices. What would you say are the main choices that you made as far as energy efficiency in your home?
Well, because this was an older home, I started where I could with windows, attic insulation, weather stripping to address air leaks, and of course, upgrading the furnace. I think in these older homes, mine was built in 1981, considering upgrading the exterior wall is an important step to increasing efficiency. What I found out after looking into it is it's best to do that at the same time as the windows. If focusing on leaks is important in older homes, and ensuring your lights and appliances when needing replacement are replaced with high efficiency models. It's important to do what you can within your budget while investing in efficiencies for things that have a long product life cycle. I definitely resource secondhand and visit the restore, as I already said, and look at local markets like Kijiji as much as I can before buying new. Being sustainable and energy efficient has pathways beginning from the production of the products we use. Often efficiencies can be created in how we use what we have. Remembering to put things on power bars or keeping your home and hot water tank a bit cooler, taking shorter showers are important things to improving efficiencies. So changing habits, like not flushing the toilet until few people have gone, number one, may not look nice, but it can save a lot of water. Often it's the personal habits we have that can make a big difference, as well as investing in efficient technologies.
That's interesting. Are there any other things that you're doing to save water other than waiting to flush?
Yeah, we have low flow toilets and shower heads. I hope to add in a drain water heat recovery system eventually, so that'll help with heating the water anyway. And maybe eventually hot water on demand once my hot water tank goes. I hope with my farm, I'll be able to develop a wash water recovery system as well. And I have rain barrels and and the water from washing veggies goes back into the garden as well.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your garden. This seems to be one of the bigger parts of your home, and one of the things that you featured on one of our tours previously. Give us some background about your permaculture garden.
After I bought this home, I was studying in university and doing a communications degree, but ended up coming across all these amazing courses on environmental stuff and discovered permaculture, and then started experimenting with my garden and with my property. This front garden is now 12 years old, so very established, and it was a lawn to begin with. Since then, this home has become an urban farm. It has 2 greenhouses and a walk-in cooler. And the garden continues to evolve using permaculture and now regenerative farming practices, growing a portion of one's own food and increasing biodiversity in an urban environment is really important towards building sustainable cities. So that's just some pictures.
That's a very interesting garden. Oh, there's your greenhouse.
Yeah, that's the greenhouse. And that was it growing last year. And then just my small starter greenhouse. And this is the walk-in cooler that I built. And this is part of my wash station that's still being developed this year.
Interesting. So what would you say is the most challenging aspect of upgrading your home?
I guess finding the time to learn about options for upgrades, as well as the money to continue the upgrades. Putting up the solar was the easy part. Finding ways to continue with other upgrades I'm finding is more challenging, but I hope to focus more on these next years. Already I'm looking into those honeycomb blinds that I saw in another video for the tour this year. I thought that would be a great way to improve the efficiency of my windows, because I only have 2 pane and not 3, without having to, redo them or spend a whole bunch of extra money to reduce some of those drafts and keep it a little cool in the summer.
Okay. I'm going to go to this question here. Is there anything you would have done differently in building your home?
What would I have done differently? No. I would have completed the exterior upgrade at the same time I put in the windows. Also, I would have looked into getting a little bit more efficient furnace. Mine is high efficiency, but it's like on the low end of efficiency.
Okay. So
I think investing that little bit of extra money at the start would have been worth it. I also would have put up more solar panels when I took advantage of the grant in 2017 to get the solar. I didn't realize a few things I didn't realize about it was one, the grant was based on how much energy used for how big a system you had. And I could have easily added extra solar without, getting any rebates for it. But with the guys already there, it wouldn't have been that much more money to just add a few more panels.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of solar, I think you said before that the solar is one of the most satisfying things. Tell us about how you feel the solar has been working for you.
I think it's been really good. It's a good conversation starter. People are always interested in how it works. I still enjoy, going online and seeing what I produce every year and seeing the differences every year. I also want to be part of that change and help encourage others to adopt microgeneration. It'll make it cheaper, and also the more energy we all produce in our communities, just sort of the more sustainable that is, and just more stable too. So
okay. So finally, what's the part of the home that you like the best?
Definitely my garden. In the summer, it's just a wonderful space to relax and see the diversity that comes through and kind of observe that miracle of nature at work. It's kind of fun to be the weird house on my street and normalizing biodiversity in the city. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for showing your house today. Is there anybody you would like to thank who helped you in the design or construction of your home?
Center Star Energy did my solar installation, and of course my friends, family, and my children for always being so supportive as I've pursued these sustainability goals in my life, and my neighbors who have not always agreed or understood what I've been doing, but have remained supportive even when it may have looked a bit unusual.
Okay.
Well, that's a summary of pardon me, one of the homes that was on the Edmonton tour, and this particular person, Tara Pombert, has worked to create an urban farm. In fact, she's so prolific in her growing that she's now renting garden plots all over the town of Beaumont, and is regularly providing produce at the local farmers market. So good for her. It shows that you can do some very interesting things with in the green space without having the most energy efficient home that's out there. So we're going to go to our first home in a few minutes. We still have a couple of minutes until 12:20. I will remind everyone that the videos of the tour days are going to be available on our website, ecosolar.ca, at the conclusion of the tour. So once we finish with Lethbridge today, we will rebuild our website, and it will have access to all the videos that we have prepared over the last 3 weeks. And you'll be able to watch the portions of the tour or the entire tour online whenever you would like. That website and those videos will be up until at least February of next year, when we will then announce the next tour for 2022, and then we'll go from there. Our first home today is in the Coalhurst neighborhood. It's actually a separate town just outside of Lethbridge. It's just up to north and east of Lethbridge, and in that town we have a net zero energy home that we're going to be talking to the homeowner and the builder today. We'll be just move my screen here to the presentation. We're going to be going through a presentation on the home first, and then once we've gone through the presentation, we'll take questions with the homeowner from there. So I want to introduce Dave Wolf. Dave Wolf is with me today. Dave Wolf is lives in the home and is the builder of the home, and he's with Greener Homes out of Lethbridge. They are a sponsor of the tour, and I want to thank you, Dave, for both being a sponsor of the tour and sharing your home with us today. Thanks, and welcome to the tour, Dave.
Hi, Andrew. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. So we're going to walk through these slides here. So starting from the front yard, tell me about your home. Let's see what you've got what we have here.
Well, we started off with we wanted to have minimal grass. I don't own a lawnmower. I had no intention. I came off of an acreage actually, and I didn't want to do that again. So we ended up with a xeriscape front yard. So it took a few years for it to be established. And after that, we basically pulled the odd weed, but no watering is required. Mother Nature does that. These plants are all native to this land, very hardy. Other than that, the home itself, I think from the curb appeal, it's fairly simple. You can't really tell the difference from that to anybody else's down the street. That this one would be no gas line attached to the home anywhere.
You know, that's something that a lot of people, when we talk about energy efficient net zero energy homes, they think, oh, it's going to be some really weird looking thing, but they don't look any different from any of the other houses on the street, do they, Dave?
No, I don't believe they do. No, I know you couldn't, although you might spot a few panels on the roof, but you would be able to tell that was much different from the exterior per se, than a regular home that was just built to code today.
Right.
That's the backyard. Put my hand to trying to design something. I didn't know what I was doing. As you can tell, it's not completed yet, but it's a hardscape. Again, no grass, just hardscape. I have a built-in little barbecue kitchen area in the back. Of course, pergola give you a little bit of shade in the hot summer days. We do have a raised garden bed, which is not visible in this photo, unfortunately. And a waterfall for a feature, but other than that, pretty simple backyard. It's very small. I built the home as large as I could basically on this property.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up with a 5-bed, 3-bath. I took up all the space that I had. So I ended up with about a 24 by 40 foot backyard, and that's what you see there.
Okay. So these next pictures go into the house. So let's take a look through the house. What have we got here?
Yeah, you walked in the front door, and of course you're looking right at the closet, your front door closet. And then you got your 7 stairs down and 7 up. Very simple, typical. We did build some of the stair treads ourselves, mimic the railing above the closet, just for aesthetics, I guess. I kind of designed this home myself. I'd never done that before, so might be a little bit of a mixed match of what it could be if somebody was experienced. Of course, it could look a lot nicer. But
so you put different decorations in this little railing above the closet seasonally, do you?
At times, yeah, depending on what the time allows. Right. Schedules today.
Right.
Yeah, so the entryway has fairly tall ceilings, but once you get up in the living room area, that's a little sitting area. We put some beams up in the ceiling just to attract your eyes up there, just for aesthetics again. Pretty simple.
So you're right up in the A-frame of the house here, of the ceiling.
I'm sorry?
You're right up in the A-frame of the top of the ceiling here, so that the roof is right above this. So this is it's a 2-story house, but the 7 stairs down. Is that like a walkout basement? Is that a little bit different?
No, it's a raised bungalow.
Oh, it's a raised bungalow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So you walk in, you got 7 down and 7 up. We're on the main floor now. I have the basement. You will see later. I wanted the basement out of the ground a fair bit just for more natural light.
Okay.
So that's why this is. So this is at the very top of the stairs, looking down. Sitting area, dining, and kitchen at the far end. It's quite universal that way. You can slide the sofa over and extend your dining room table. More sitting area if need be without having a lot more square footage. So it's kind of compact,
right?
But it's all there. If you have your family gatherings 2, 3, 4 times a year, I didn't want to have an additional 1,000 square feet just for those few days.
Right.
So
right.
This allows you to move things around and still be comfortable and cozy. We did a little bit of a vault ceiling to it's only got 8-foot walls. We did a vault ceiling to make it feel a little bit grander, not so much like a hallway because it's fairly long and skinny. We did have minimal facing. The south facing is fairly minimal with windows because you have your neighboring properties there, etc.
All right, let me just go to the next slide. The kitchen, and then what have we got here? A few more of the kitchen here, I think.
Yeah, we have an island. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. Some pot lights in the ceiling.
Nice corner sink. I have a corner sink. I love it.
Yeah.
Moving on to the bedroom.
Yeah, with the master bedroom, again, there's just 8-foot ceilings in the rest of the home.
Okay.
We did a little bit of detail in the ceiling to make it look like it was a little grander than it maybe really is, but it's a poor man's way of showing a little bit of coffered ceiling, I guess. You know?
I guess. And then into the washrooms.
Yeah, this is the ensuite. Fairly big mirror in the one side of it. So we put the tower in the center for a little more storage. Lights
Okay.
above it. Pretty simple. Basic.
It's a pretty nice home, Dave. I'm not sure I'd call it basic. It's quite nice. Quite nice.
Thanks, appreciate that. Actually, if you go back one picture, to point some out, you can see it next to the toilet on the left side of it. You see a little bit of a buildup. Now it's on the bottom right corner. It's actually a laundry chute.
Okay.
And, yeah, that area. So you can actually, it's on a pin. So that the top left corner is on a pin. So you can actually pull it up and sit there and I can do my makeup there in the mornings if I need to.
I see. Excellent.
Which doesn't do me any good, by the way, so I don't use it. I'll put it that way. But that's the kind of a dual function. It slides forward, it has a bench and laundry chute at the same time.
Okay. Okay. And then that just goes down to the laundry downstairs.
Yeah, laundry's right below it with a laundry basket, and it goes right where it doesn't magically go down there, but it magically appears back up in a closet, which is great.
Oh dear.
One of those, you know?
Okay.
And it's a soaker tub, jetted soaker tub, and you see the light above it is actually a solar tube. One of the sun tunnels, a sun tunnel, because the 2 bathrooms in this home are the only ones that were not on an exterior wall to give you some natural light. And I had never used them before. Of course, this was the first home that I did build 11, 12 years ago, whatever that is now. Mm-hmm. And I tried them, so I do quite like them.
Yeah. How hard are they to install, Dave?
These first ones were, for me, it was a little difficult, but I was concerned about moisture and the seal of the lid in the ceiling itself.
Right.
So when we installed them, I did insulate them as well. I spray foamed them quite well, so to keep the warmth. If there was any air passage, it wouldn't create any condensation. So,
and they worked fine.
They work very well, actually. Yeah, people sometimes look for the light switch, want to turn the light off when you leave the room. But one thing is kind of neat is because the bathroom has got blue paint in it, so at nighttime you turn the light on. If you stand back outside and look at this it looks like an alien on my rooftop. It's a little blue bubble because the reflection of the color goes up, and that clear lens outside has got a little blue bubble on your roof.
Oh, so it comes back up from the inside.
It does, yeah.
Interesting.
It'll be another bedroom. I use it as a boardroom at times.
Okay.
Somewhere to go do some work.
I think we're on is this still upstairs or are we downstairs yet?
No, this is still upstairs. This is the second bathroom upstairs.
Okay.
Full bath.
Now we're downstairs.
Not yet. Now you're downstairs. Yep.
Now we're downstairs. Sorry. When I click, it comes up faster for me. Sorry.
Yeah, so you walk downstairs, and we did a 9-foot ceiling just because it's, again, a pretty long, skinny home. This faces south. See, we got a fair bit of natural light coming in because the windows are fairly big. So I always wanted a pool table. Don't know why, because I have yet to learn how to play. The only place we have our little not sitting area, but the TV is basically downstairs, just one TV. Don't have it in every room like some other might like it. That's the bathroom downstairs. Did some travertine tile around the mirrors and the shower itself. Quite like the natural look of the travertine stone.
Okay.
Right there you see it above the shower.
Right.
Bedroom downstairs.
So that window then, that's not at grade, is it?
That's above grade.
But how far above grade would that be? Like just
It's only about 6 inches or so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just prior to needing a window well. We're just above
Okay.
the requirements. Yeah.
Okay. Still, those rooms are quite bright. They look good.
Yeah, with the windows it being above grade the way we are, works quite well.
And not in window well, so the sun shines in quite nicely. The light gets in there fairly well.
It does, yeah. And we're all triple pane throughout the whole house.
Okay.
And depending on the orientation, we'll have different coatings on it. As you know, the coatings do work with for and against heating and cooling your home.
Okay.
So kind of a science goes in with it, depending on your overhangs, your shading capabilities, and not overheating in the summertime. Is what kind of glass you have, and what kind of coatings go up against the glass. So it's kind of a math and science that goes with it.
I see. So where's this magic laundry basket?
In the left, behind that closet door.
It's actually in the closet. Okay.
Yeah. So it's hid. So yeah.
Tell me about these. Go ahead.
And we have a little folding table on the right side. So yeah, it folds down up against the wall.
So what about this washer dryer combination? Anything interesting about those? Energy
Star. Other than that, they're vented still.
Okay.
You gotta remember these are going on 12 years old, 11 I guess since we built the house. So yeah.
Okay.
Still original.
Okay.
Before the ventless I knew about ventless at the time. So
right.
Here we have a geothermal heating and cooling source, which is a ground source heat pump. Does all our air conditioning and all our heating for the home. And it's actually equivalent to a 36,000 BTU. If people are interested or understand BTUs, your typical barbecuer is going to be anywhere between 50 and 70,000 BTU. So in order to heat and cool this home, I've got a 36,000 BTU ground source that actually does that. So that kind of tells you the building envelope, the air sealing and the insulation values, your window placements, how much that can downsize your requirements for heating and cooling your home.
It's 36,000 BTUs per hour. They also refer to that as 3 tons of heating and cooling.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Now, how many boreholes? Do you use boreholes, or you have some other way of collecting the heat out of the ground?
No, it's because this is actually in the backyard underneath my hardscape because the lot's fairly small.
Right.
We did 3 boreholes in 240 feet deep.
240, wow.
Yeah, and they're 1 ton each. That's correct.
Okay, so 240 feet deep for each borehole. So then that circulates some form of liquid through the boreholes in the yard, and then that actually pulls the heat out of the ground and brings it into the house. And then this uses a refrigeration cycle to pull the heat out of that, and then it blows it through regular ductwork, or is there some other method of heating?
No, it is regular ductwork. That's correct. Okay. You'll see on the right-hand side of the bottom, that's where the water lines come in instead of a gas line. That's the water line that actually comes from the pumping unit. It's a tiny little pump that circulates that water through the unit and back out again into the boreholes. Correct.
There's the water lines right there.
Yeah, that's what I have versus instead of a gas line.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, no gas required. There's nothing. It capped it at the street. There's nothing in the home even. So.
Right. Okay.
And here's the hot water tank. It's an air source again instead of the ground source. This now pulls the heat out of the ambient air temperature and compresses the molecules out of the air to create hot water. It is the most energy efficient hot water tank on the market today. It's 80-gallon capacity. It's a slower recovery than your gas would be, or maybe a typical electric, but this one uses very, very minimal energy for about $4 to $5, depending on how many family members you have, between $4 and $7 a month for hot water, sitting there all the time, 80 gallons of it.
You have any issues? Some people have said that the room that it's in can sometimes be too small. The room can get kind of cold. Have you noticed anything with that?
It's great for summertime. Yeah, it keeps your room very cool. In the wintertime, yes, it does cool it off. 100% agree, but not to the extent where it's going to what I did is open up a little bit of a vent off the furnace, so we
Okay.
creating a little bit extra heat in that space.
Okay.
Maybe counterproductive, but it's still, the efficiency level is still very high, very high.
You still have enough heat for the rest of the house, so you're probably fine.
Never shortage. I
That's
set my
great.
home at 22.5 and I don't touch it. It stays there year round. Doesn't matter what it's like outside. So
That's actually a good question. The ground source heat pumps typically have a electric resistance backup heater. Do you ever use the backup heater, that electric backup heater in your heat pump?
never.
Never been. Okay, well that's
If
good.
you-
Good to know.
If you size them properly, it's not required.
Okay, fair enough.
No. This is the HRV, heat recovery ventilation system,
Mhm.
which filters the air prior to the, because the home is so airtight, we need to bring fresh air in because we
Right.
don't have typical bath fans. This is considered the bath fan and your complete ventilation system for your home. So it keeps your
Okay.
house balanced, because anytime on an energy efficient home, you have an airtight envelope. If your home would be under negative pressure at -20 below, you're going to start getting icing on your doorknobs and your windows, etc.
Mhm.
So this guy keeps your home slightly, just at 2 points on the positive side. So the comfort level stays the same in your home. And it filters your air before you breathe it, before the
Okay.
furnace takes it, dehumidifies the home in the summertime. So it's a very, very special component to keep you, this is what keeps you healthy in your home, basically.
So I've got a couple questions about this, if you don't mind. So you have the exhaust ports for this in your bathrooms. Is that where they are?
Correct.
And where does the intake come in? Does it go into your furnace, or does it go to other places in the house?
Other places in the house, each bedroom has one.
Oh, okay.
And then the rest of the home. But when you go to you have two controls. You have one in your bathroom, you have a main one for your home. So it can be running, but as soon as you turn one in the bathroom, it then only exhausts out of the bathroom. It does not distribute that throughout the house.
Oh, I see.
And when the bath fan gets turned off again, then it distributes throughout the house to control the air quality in your home.
And help with humidity as well, I bet.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, you can set it at 38, 40% is where I typically keep mine. And it automatically keeps it where it's required.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Drain water heat recovery, a copper pipe. You already paid to heat your water once, and now you go for a shower, and that hot water goes strictly down the drain. What this copper pipe does is it is wrapped around your sewer line going out from your shower,
Mhm.
and the cold water line wraps around the outside of that pipe and preheats your water coming back into your hot water tank. So it's up to 44% efficient. It'll actually pull the heat out of that, because when water goes down a pipe, it doesn't fall down the center of it. It always swirls on the outside of that pipe, on the inside, but on the exterior walls.
Mhm.
And this copper's on the outside of that. It actually captures that heat.
It's really interesting.
It
And
is
it just-
for,
And there's no moving parts. It just the water just flows through the different pipes, right?
for a $600-700 piece of copper, it's there for the life of the home, and it pays itself back many, many times. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what have we got here? I'm not sure I recognize this.
Yeah, it was a little hard to do behind the water tank. It's actually, I did a home run system in this home. I wanted to make sure I had no connections anywhere in my ceilings, anywhere at all. So every line, every tap has its own line running back and forth.
Oh, this is water. Okay, I wasn't
This
sure
is
what
fresh
it was.
water.
Okay,
This is fresh water
so
going in.
explain this. Yep.
You have your water line coming into the bottom of it, and
Uh-huh.
you see all the pipes coming out the side. Every pipe
Right, all
goes
these here.
Yeah, they're all hots. That side's all hot, going to my taps in my house. And on
Mhm.
the left-hand side, which you can't really see, is all the cold water. So
This
it goes
side,
from
these
there.
pipes here.
Yeah. So from that point, there's no connections anywhere in your ceilings until you hit your tap itself underneath your sink or tub or wherever it is.
Okay.
That way you never have to worry about a line leak anywhere along the way. There's no connections, period.
You don't need to worry about fitting leaks, which is usually where the water lines break,
Correct.
especially in PEX pipe.
But a drawback from this is you cannot have if you have your mechanical room at the other end of your home from where you need most of your hot water,
Right.
you can't recirculate it. So there's a drawback to that,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
which I learned along the way. This is showing a triple pane window.
Okay.
There's one in the kitchen, actually. Now you can see the neighbors right there. So we could only minimize the amount of windows facing south, but
Right.
and they have the passive design on it, so they have minimal coatings to allow the sun in and the heat in the wintertime.
Okay.
Here's my PV system, solar power, creating all my electricity for my home.
It looks like you have a couple of different kinds of solar modules up here. You want to explain this?
I do. As this is when I built this was pre having knowledge or having these air source heat pumps for hot water. So what I did is at the top right corner, there's 2 panels that do my thermal hot water. That's correct. So I have an 80-gallon storage tank in my basement as well that this preheats the water before it hits the actual hot water tank.
So a bit of solar thermal then.
Correct.
So those are solar flat plate collectors for solar thermal.
You're correct. Yes.
Okay, right up here. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, if there's a large family, I could see it being worth it. But for us, there's only a few of us here. It's not really, the value is not there anymore because the hot water tanks have got so much more energy efficient from what I've seen. So just when I look at cost prohibitiveness of what the cost is to install, operating, maintenance versus the hot water tank, the air source.
Okay.
I don't promote this myself.
Okay.
Which this home itself, if I may say, was my first one that I built, and I did it as a demonstration home. And I've been monitoring all these items that we put in this house to see where the value is.
Okay.
When I go build the next home, I know whether it's worth trying to sell that product or not. And I've learned lots, and that's what I'm saying. If you have a larger family, great, you can use these, but your average home will not require that. The air source are more bang for your buck than this.
Okay. So there's just backing off and looking at a little bit more of that. So this roof line that we're looking at now, this is south facing?
That is correct.
Okay.
Due south, yeah.
So the front of your home faces east?
East, correct.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Here's a photo of a door blower test.
Okay.
And we, of course, we have to always have to be verified. When you're saying you're a net zero, it's got to be verified that you are. And we did a door. This is a checking how much air exchanges an hour this home does allow, how leaky it is. And I'm very proud to say that we came back at a 0.37.
Ooh, very nice.
So it's really nice and airtight. There's no heat loss anywhere. Again, it helps with the cleanliness of your air quality in the home, leakage, heat in the neighbor's property.
Keeps the that Lethbridge wind out from blowing through the windows too, I bet.
It does. And that at times is required, trust me. So there's my inner guide being verified, third party verified that it's a net zero. Energy Star label on the other side of it.
Okay. Now it's interesting that it says that a home of the similar size would be 96 gigajoules a year, and you're at 0. So that's just showing how the net zero works. That on average, at the end of the year, the energy used by your home will turn out to be 0. You, of course, make a lot of solar in the summer, and you have to buy electricity in the winter. But on average, they should balance out.
At the end of the year, I'm 0. I didn't pay anything for electricity, nor any line fees or anything. It is an actual 0. I have my property tax, my water, and my garbage disposal. That's all I have. So correct. Okay. And the thing is, I guess if people have an interest in net zeros or even just going up to that, there's not just one, either a built to code home or a net zero. There's multiple stages, lots of things you can do for minimal expense to get you up in a way higher class and savings on a monthly basis for the rest of the home, life of the home, right?
Right. Well, Dave, look, thanks very much for walking us through that. Now what we'll do is we'll hand things over to Gordon Howell, who's our quizmaster, and he will start with some questions. We'll see what questions he has. Meanwhile, I will just move that over there, and I will try to illustrate the questions with pictures from your presentation and from the pictures you gave me as you guys are discussing them. So Gordon, over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. My goodness, Dave, what a fun house you've made. And to think you made it, how many years ago was it?
I think it's going on 11 years, 12 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pioneer in the Lethbridge area.
Yeah, I was one of the, I think I was one of the first.
Yeah,
I'm aware of.
yeah, absolutely. Lots of questions for you today. We really appreciate everybody asking questions. How many square feet is the house?
1377 on the main level. 1377, 5-bed, 3-bath.
So, so potentially 1200 on the lower level?
A little better. Yes, correct.
And what's the insulation in the walls and the roof?
We have R54 in the walls and 100 plus in the ceiling.
How did you decide? So that's a double stud wall, is it?
No, this is actually the first one I did. So I did this actually out of a 2x8 construction, which of course, this is the only one I did. I learned from this because of thermal bridging. But we do have 2 inches of foam on the outside in order to minimize it. But I quickly realized the double stud wall system is a better way to go.
Absolutely correct. And fun to think it was the double stud wall system was first developed in Regina in 1978.
Yes.
How did you decide on the insulation and how much insulation in the roof?
Well, a little bit of research I did, and I guess this was my first one, so it was a little bit of a gamble. I did have some help with energy advisors that did help me walk through this, of course. So we ended up, I started off with doing half the cavity, filling it half full. And to me, it seemed wrong. And they were willing to give me a discount if I went and doubled the insulation in it. So I said, fill it up. So we have the 2-bay cavities right full of 2-pound spray foam.
Foam.
Correct.
And how is that? Oh, so I see on this photo here, it's a type of brick or rock cladding on it. The question that came in was, how is the house clad to keep the wind out?
I'm sorry, how is the house cladded?
To keep the wind out.
Oh, this is a vinyl siding. It's a mitten siding. It has 2 inches of foam on the back side of it. But we had a good air seal on our building wrap. We had a high perm paper, which keeps the wind out, but still allows the exterior to dry out to the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was an important part. We made all our penetration points. We made sure we sealed it very well. It's not just one or nothing. You have to look throughout the entire building envelope to achieve that number.
That's so true, isn't it?
Yes.
And 0.37. Well, congratulations. That is huge.
Thank you.
I mean, that's tiny.
Yeah.
That's which of course with Lethbridge's wind, that's a very, very significant things. So the house is 11 years old or something, I think you said?
Yes, correct.
How have you found it to perform in terms of comfort, drafts in the winter, need for air conditioning in the summer?
There is, when we hit the 30 plus for a few weeks, yes, my AC does come on, my Geo, because I keep my home at 22.5 year round. It switches over as required. So it's always the same temperature, upstairs, downstairs. It's always within a half a degree. And keeping the wind out is basically, again, just with the cladding we done on the outside and all the penetrations are building wrap and a good air seal.
Yeah, that air seal is stunningly important, isn't it?
Very important, very important.
We couldn't quite read the label on the photo of the ground source heat pump. Who is the manufacturer?
It's GeoSmart.
Okay. And who installed it?
Energy Smart out of Lethbridge.
And did they do the inside part as well as the groundwork?
Actually, yeah, I did the groundwork myself. I've been in that for about 25 years.
Okay.
So I did that myself in conjunction with Energy Smart. Correct.
Aha. Another question that came in was, do you have the efficiency or coefficient of performance of the air source heat pump water heater?
The water heater?
I have to look at the stat. We can get back.
The water,
Like 3 or 4 or something maybe?
It's
3.99 is the COP for the
So
for
4.
the water.
3.99 COP for the water heater.
Okay, thank you.
What about the Geo?
And the Geo?
The
Yeah.
Geo is 4.2 for the heating and 8.2 for the cooling efficiency, and that's COP.
4.2 is amazing, hey?
Yeah.
With your HRV, how many heat exchange cores do you have? 1 or 2?
Just
the cores.
The cores.
I have just the one, just across in it.
And what was the manufacturer of it?
Healthy Solutions.
Oh, I see. Do you know where they're out of?
No, I do not. My plumber supplied it at the time, the HVAC guys. It must have been local.
Hmm. So you say you set the humidistat at, I think it was 28% or something?
38, I like to keep my home at 38 to 40. I have laminate flooring and it likes to be at about 38 to 40%.
So, so do you find your skin feeling that nice high humidity in the wintertime, whereas everywhere else you go, it's dry?
100%. Then you would look at that right there is my water softener as well. So yes, it's very, very comfortable. Very comfortable, yeah.
And how about people that come to visit your house? Do they, when they come in the wintertime and they're used to their own house being so dry and the outside being dry, when they come into your house, do they remark on how nice the humidity is?
That and the quietness of the home.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I found with my low energy passive solar house in 1980. When we opened the door in the wintertime, there would be this huge blast of humidity go outside because it was such a wonderfully high level humidity in the inside. It was just remarkable. Does your HRV then have 2 speeds, like one speed that it runs continuously and then with the bathroom fan or something kicking it on to a higher speed?
Correct. It is a 2-speed, yes. And you can set it to come on the stat. You can adjust it to come on 20 minutes per hour, 40 minutes per hour. So it doesn't circulate either all the time or not at all. It's a setting you can have that comes on as you require. The more people you have in a home, the more you want it to run, or if you're cooking, correct?
Right. But does the humidistat take care of that, or do you actually have to be aware of it and go turn it on from time to time?
No, the humidistat is aware of it. When it reaches a certain point, you have a plus and a minus of 3%, and it'll come on if it goes higher than that. And if it's lower than that, of course, we have a humidifier itself, right? That humidifies the air then.
Well, actually, that's a really good point. So is your humidifier ever working?
In the wintertime, it does. When it's really cold, yes, then it certainly is.
Okay.
It still has that requirement. Not much, but it still does.
Oh, yeah. No, I would imagine it isn't much. Some other questions here. Just a comment was expansion joints on hot water heat recovery device. That's very clever. Allows for occasional removal and cleaning to keep the pipe in good condition, which is very smart. Any other water saving devices?
They're all 2-stage toilets, in low flow shower heads, etc. Yes.
And of course, no lawn.
No lawn.
That probably saves on water too, I would think.
Yeah.
Some ground source heat pumps have an additional feature that preheats the water for your water tank. Is that on your system, or did you consider that option, or was it just not around then?
It was available at the time. We chose the other option and went with the thermal panels instead. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Do you have some information on the cost of the ground source heat pump system? What's the requirement for the size of the lot? Available contractors in Lethbridge or elsewhere?
Of course, the size of the unit, the building dictates you have to size the unit according to the demands of the building. So we have to do a door blower test and run it through a system that measures the heat loss in your building envelope itself. Your attic, your windows, and all these placements.
Yes.
That'll determine how large of a system you'll need, and of course, that'll determine the price of it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's contractor here in Lethbridge that have done it for, well, I started this 25 years ago, along with Energy Smart, and we've done hundreds of them. So,
would you be comfortable in saying what is a typical cost for a ground source heat pump?
You know, again,
or for your house?
Yeah, for my house here, probably $25,000.
Okay. And what's the design heat loss rate of your house? How many British thermal units per hour at -30, for example? That's part of the Energuide rating.
The Energuide rating?
Yeah.
The what part?
The BTU. Sorry, you say the BTU loss in the envelope?
Yes, at the design temperature conditions. -30 or whatever.
I have to try to look at that.
If you have a 33,000 British thermal unit per hour heat pump, then maybe your heat loss rate is 30 or 28 or something, which is phenomenal.
It'd be under 36,000.
Yeah. The size of your PV system. I'm just zipping through the questions because we're ending our time.
Yeah, just over 12 kilowatt hours.
12 kilowatts. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And do you have to go up onto the roof to clean snow after any periods of heavy snow?
Never been up there for that reason, no.
But you never get snow in Lethbridge, do you?
Oh, we do get snow, but we also remember we do get some of the winds. That'll blow some of it off. And the other thing is, if you'll find is that the panels, as soon as the sun comes out, the panels do warm up and the snow slides off. The panels will be bare, and the rest of my shingle roof will still have snow on it, and my neighbors.
Oh, really?
So, yes. So the panels they warm up instantly as soon as a little bit of sun hits it, even through the snow, warms it up enough for it to slide off.
What's the tilt angle of your roof?
It's a 8-12 pitch.
8, so that's 32 degrees, I think it is. Yeah, which is fine. I think we're more or less out of questions here, which is good time. If we could have the list of the sponsors. Thank you so much, Dave, for a great presentation on your house.
Pleasure's all mine.
Oh, one question then before we end. What is your inverter?
Microinverter.
Oh, microinverter. So N-phase or AP system?
N-phase. Yeah, N-phase, yeah.
Yeah, because it's 11 years old, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Dave. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And so we want to thank our Lethbridge sponsors. The silver sponsor is Innotech Windows and Doors, who make really high performance European style windows and doors for the local market here, which is great to see these amazing windows and doors come into Alberta. We want to thank the Solar Club Energy Retailer for, there's 20 of them around the province, one of which is Camrose Energy. And we want to thank them for being a sponsor. And I think you can see them on Green Energy Alberta website, or Green Alberta Energy. I always get them mixed up. But you can see all the 20 sponsors, one of which is Camrose Energy. Thank you for sponsoring us, and thank you for Greener Homes for the work you've done in the Lethbridge area and for being a sponsor of our tour this year. if we're ready to hand over to Andrew. Not
Yes,
quite.
here I am. Here I am. So we are just coming up to the top of the hour, where we will be starting to discuss the Crossings Net Zero Ready home. Now, for this home, we actually prepared a video interview earlier. And what we'll do is we'll start with that video interview and with Brian Sexton. And when that video interview comes to an end, we will go to questions. So let's start with the video interview. Here is Brian and myself.
Yes. So give me a bit of background on why you chose to build your home like this. What were the main things you were trying to accomplish?
So Andrew, our story goes back to our first house. The very first house we purchased was built to an R2000 standard. We lived there for about 9 years and really enjoyed the low energy costs of that house. But we just didn't know how good we had it until we moved to a different house as our family grew. And we just wanted a bigger yard. So the second house we were in, after a few months of living there, we discovered our energy bills had almost tripled. And it was just something it was just a hard pill to swallow for us. So we set about trying to make some changes to that house to improve efficiency. That house was just built to code, nothing special about it for energy wise. But ultimately we just decided, well, let's start over, start from scratch, build the house that we really want, and sort of build our forever home. Strong focus on energy efficiency, of course. And just in planning for that and looking into it, that's when we learned about this concept of net zero construction. So we secured a lot, secured a south-facing lot here in Lethbridge, and secured a net zero designer out of Edmonton, and worked with him on the design. So our main focus was really just the financial aspect, because from our experience, we knew that an energy efficient home can just keep money in your pocket. So a lot of our decisions going into this house, as we went through the design process, a lot of decisions had a very heavy focus on the financial. So a lot of folks think energy efficiency is just about the green aspect, but there really is a financial benefit to it. Overarching goal was to get off the natural gas grid, because we always looked at our gas bill and our power bill and thought, well, what if you just had a power bill and you could roll those fixed costs from the natural gas bill over to the power bill, even though electricity tends to be somewhat more expensive.
So what's the EnerGuide rating of this new home? What information do you have on that?
So our EnerGuide rating, we had a door blower test done and had the rating done. We set at 48, but we've been tracking our energy use since August of 2016 when we first moved in. And from that, our actual usage is more like 35 gigajoules per year, as opposed to the 48 on the EnerGuide. If you kind of look, year one and year two, our usage was well below the 10,000 kilowatt hours per year. Sorry, I work in kilowatt hours.
That's all right.
But in year three, we bought an electric vehicle, so you can see how it crept up just from that. But year one and year two are more representative of what just the house is doing.
So just for our viewers, there are 277 kilowatt hours in a gigajoule, so it's very easy to convert from one to the other. Now, just a comment on the EnerGuide rating. It's based on the home's envelope and doesn't really consider the people living in the home. And most people who build energy efficient homes tend to live a little lighter on the earth than most people, and so they find that their EnerGuides are usually less than what the actual rating is. So good for you. Kudos for you. So let's take a look at some other pictures of your home. First of all, what would you say is the standout feature of your home, Brian?
Just for folks walking by on the street, we get the occasional comment that they just like the sort of architectural design of it. In this particular housing development, you got to choose from 4 different architectural styles. So we went with the modern style because modern is function drives form, and we just found that that was a good approach for net zero design. But I can't stress enough that if you want to build energy efficient, you know, it's up to you. You don't have to stick to one certain design on the outside or inside. You can do whatever you like. So as far as other standout features, I'd say it tends to be just the materials we used on the exterior. We went with cement fiber siding and then corrugated metal siding, and then the roof as well as metal. So part of what's happening with the environment now is we get these severe weather events of windstorms and hailstorms, and we just wanted to have a home that stood up to all that.
So when we build energy efficient homes, we make a series of energy efficient choices. What would you say were the main choices you had to make as far as energy efficiency in your home?
So I guess one of the first features of the home was where we were putting it. So the picture here is panoramic. The street in front of our house is actually straight, not curved. But in the site selection, we looked for a house that faced, or a lot that faced due south, which this one does. As you can see from the photo, it's just completely unobstructed. We overlook these soccer fields, which is nice.
Okay, so those won't be developed then. That's a soccer field.
No.
Okay.
In fact, the city had a tree growing near the curb right in front of our house, an elm tree, and we put in a request to have that removed because we just didn't want to have that shadow on the house. So as far as design features on the outside, a part of it is just taking advantage of that southern exposure to take advantage of that free heat to heat the home. This picture here shows it's early morning on a December day. And as the sun comes up, you can see it's just shooting right on those windows, large south-facing windows, and getting to work on heating the home. So that's part of what we call the passive solar design. In the summer, it's a different story. You don't want that heat coming in. So as part of the exterior design, we have these 3-foot overhangs over both of the front windows. And they're dead easy to incorporate because you just do your truss design and then extend it 3 feet past your wall. And in the case of the window on the bottom, we just extended the floor joist 3 feet past the wall. And you see by the shadow, this is taken just recently here in June as we approach the summer solstice. And the shadowing on the windows is just right in the dead of summer.
Looks perfect.
And, what happens there is, as a result, we don't actually need air conditioning for this house. So worked out well.
Yeah, that shading looks really good. That's a really good set of pictures showing the December allowing the sun getting into your windows, and then in the summertime the shading of your windows so that you don't get overheating in the summer. Those are 2 good pictures. Thank you for those.
Right. This shows a little bit of detail on the roof design and how we designed the roof to take advantage of that southern exposure. But if we ever install solar panels, so if we're net zero ready, the house is ready for panels. If we ever put the panels on, we'll be fully net zero. Another advantage of that roof design was capturing water from the roof for our garden, and I'll show that later in the presentation.
Okay.
An architectural requirement was actually to have that overhang, just that peak at the back there. We couldn't have normal peaks. We had to have an overhang. And what came of that, we sort of opposed that requirement at first, but as we delved into it, discovered that if we put vented soffit underneath that overhang, that would act as our vents for the roof.
Oh, interesting.
What that means is we didn't have to install traditional vents on the roof that get in the way of the solar panels.
So, you want to just point that out, where the overhang is?
Just 2 seconds.
Just on the back top there. Okay, yeah, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's all vented, and so that becomes your roof ventilation.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, interesting.
So as a visual, this is the back of the house, and you can see that overhang, and that's all vented soffit up there.
Okay.
The thing to note here for later in the talk is how the windows are sort of pushed into the wall, and we'll get to that when we look at windows. So passive solar design. This is in the fall. So at this time of year, you're getting a good free heat in the house. So. As far as our wall construction, we went with double 2x4 studs. So kind of hard to see on the far wall, but if you look on the left there, you'll see it's basically 2x4 frames, one to form an outer wall, so to speak, and one to form an inner wall. We get asked a lot, why didn't we stagger the studs to prevent even more heat loss? And the answer is it's just not, it's a minimal gain when you do that. And when you keep in mind construction efficiency, when the framers are doing their job, they just want to be able to build a wall on the ground, and they can lay the second wall over top of that and frame accordingly. I did a lot of the wiring in this house, ran a lot of the wires, and one thing I liked is you simply staple the wire to the back of the outer studs. Sometimes you drill holes, and then down the road, if you're mounting cabinets or drilling deep into a stud, you're less likely to hit a wire. So,
right.
If you look closely, there's a top and bottom plate that's OSB plate, and that actually forms part of the air barrier system for the wall system. This is a picture of the insulation. It's cellulose fiber insulation. So those installers come along and install this netting and then cut small holes in it for the hose and then just blow the fiber in.
Oh, so this is netting that we're seeing in this picture. Okay.
Yeah, that's the netting. And if you look at the holes, you can see a bit of insulation poking out there.
Okay.
So they blow that in under higher pressure just until they reach a certain density. And if they achieve that density, then there's no risk of settling in the wall. That's a question we get quite often. So the idea is to get these big pillows on your framing,
right?
And then they pack it in with a roller, just so the drywallers can get the drywall on.
Well, and so you can get the vapor barrier up too. And here's the vapor barrier.
Yeah. So vapor barrier winds up being, because of the way the walls are built with the top and bottom plates, vapor barrier winds up being your air barrier for the house.
Okay.
So double duty. Care has to be taken, making sure that you do use acoustical sealant to connect to those top and bottom plates, and then anywhere around the windows. And then as far as any taping you have to do, you can see the green tape there. I think it's called Siga tape.
Right.
Special tape meant for use with vapor barrier and seal up the outlets and such.
Okay.
As far as our attic went, it's actually the same cellulose fiber material. It's just under a different brand name. And we blew that in about 2 feet thick. And that gives us an R90 attic. Sorry, 4 feet thick.
4? Holy cow.
I believe, if I have that right, I believe so. Going back to the wall system, the wall gives us an R40 wall. Okay. And then an R90 attic.
Wow.
And then just looking off to the right there, we got some cabling hanging from the rafters, and that's just for future solar. So we
okay. So you're already wired for solar.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we wanted to make sure that was in place. As far as the basement, we did 4 inches of styrofoam under the slab. That makes for about an R12 under the slab. And part of that is to put vapor barrier material again sandwich between the 2 layers.
Oh, I see.
And then we seal every penetration, like the teleposts and the plumbing penetrations. So you can kind of see the vapor barrier taped to the wall there temporarily.
Right, right.
And then later that'll be connected to the wall vapor barrier and then again form a continuous air barrier for the home.
Okay.
So the slab just gets poured right over top of this.
Okay.
And then later on the walls, it's already installed, but 4 inches of styrofoam on the walls. And then when we put up a 2x4 frame for the wall, we then blew in another 6 inches of dense pack cellulose fiber.
Okay.
So that makes for about an R32 on the basement walls.
Okay.
But a little bit more if you want to get technical and say that the concrete behind it gives a little bit of R value. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah. As far as our windows, very important part of the building envelope. We went with triple pane argon filled. This is one of the south-facing windows. And a different thing we did, you may not see in other buildings, is we put the window in the center of the wall. So we set it in a little bit.
Okay.
Just because studies have shown when you do that, you minimize the air or the heat loss around the frame. And it saves you a few hundred kilowatt hours per year, but when you're into these net zero homes, that's a big deal because the energy usage is so low. So we thought it was well worth doing.
That's a terrific picture of the window. Great shot. Good camera work there, Brian.
Thank you. And I guess that also demonstrates just how thick the walls are on the house, 12 inches thick. And then you wind up with this nice little windowsill to work with.
Right, right.
As far as our heating system, we went with electric baseboard heaters. In the design stage, we had a lot of conversations with our designer about the need for a cooling system and a heating system in the home. And we had full intention of installing an air source heat pump to achieve those two things, because heat pump will give you both heating and cooling. But we were always told that if you install air source heat pump, you should have some sort of electric resistance backup for extreme cold, because the heat pumps just don't quite keep up at low temperatures. So one of the options was to install these. You could either do it as an electric resistance heater in the ductwork, or just put these in every room. So we took a bit of a different approach, because we were actually in the middle of the build when our designer phoned us up and said, "Hey, I want to change your windows."
Oh dear.
And I said, "Are you trying to make the rest of my hair fall out?" And what he was doing was playing around with the energy model of the home. And he discovered that if he made those south-facing windows a little bit smaller and changed the glazing to let in a little bit less light, prevent a little more heating, the result was he would shift the energy load of the house away from the cooling and into the heating.
Okay.
So the theory being, if this worked, then we wouldn't need air conditioning, or we wouldn't need that function of the heat pump.
Okay.
So we did it backwards. Instead of installing the heat pump and then having a backup resistance heat, we installed the baseboard heaters first, and we roughed in for the heat pump. And then our first summer in the house, it was a scorcher, and right away that was proof that we didn't need air conditioning.
Oh, good.
So that was the end of it. We didn't need to buy a heat pump, an air source heat pump, and we just stuck with these.
So resistance heaters like these are very inexpensive, aren't they? These are just a couple $100 each or something.
Yeah, I always say I bought my furnace at Home Depot because it was just a shopping cart full of these baseboard heaters. They cost about $100 a piece. And there's one in every room. And what we love about them is just the redundancy, because if one breaks down, then you've got all the other ones in the house working.
Right.
And then you just run out to Home Depot and get yourself another one. So this one is 1,250 watts. It's our biggest one in the house, in the living room. Smallest one in the home. This is one of the boys' bedrooms. It's 500 watts. The controller is wireless, which is nice, because then you just have to run wires to each heater for the power. And then the controller's wireless, so there's no need for those cables. And it has all the functionality of, you can put it under schedule, a timer. You can press when you're away. And it does have smartphone capability, so rarely do we use this wall mount. We actually
it's ideally hooked up for zone control, because you have a heater in every room.
Yeah, we can do up to 4 zones there.
Okay.
We use 3 because there's just 3 levels of the home.
Okay.
And I think we've achieved some savings just from that, because if you're not using the basement, you just have that on a lower settings.
Right.
Getting into ventilation, when you build a home that's this airtight, you need to bring fresh air in, just to not only control humidity, to just give a good living environment for the occupants. So that's my wife's artwork, but above it is you'll see these vents in every room. And in most of the rooms, they blow fresh air in, but in the washrooms, the kitchen, and the laundry closet, they pull air out. So they want to withdraw the moisture from the home.
All right.
So that's the controller for it. We run ours on 24/7. We run it on the lowest setting, just so it's continuously bringing fresh air in. But these controllers, you can have other settings where it just turns on full blast during the day at certain times and such. And it monitors the humidity as well. In the bathrooms, here's the quick little switch. If you're going to take a shower, you just hit the button on 20, 40, or 60 minutes, so it pulls the moisture out of the washroom. And as far as the heart of that ventilation system, it's the big white box on the far wall. And this is a heat recovery ventilator. So it brings cool, fresh air into the home, and it exchanges heat with the air coming out of the home being exhausted. So you recover a little bit of the heat that you're losing from the home just through ventilation. So on the right is our electrical panel. I'll just touch upon that. It's a 200 amp panel. And in our load demand calculation for the home, we came up with something like 143 amps required. So we could have put in a 150 amp panel, but we said, what if we wind up with 2 electric cars or something like that? So we went for 200. And a neat thing that the city of Lethbridge does is in new areas, they actually have 200 amps available at the curb.
Okay.
When I talk to folks in other cities, they have this challenge of maybe only 100 amps at the curb. So tip of the hat to city of Lethbridge for just being, forward thinking on that.
Great.
And in speaking with them, they have come to the conclusion that we're going to have more electrified homes as we go. So on the left is our hot water tank. So big thing we learned here is don't oversize your tank. This one's 38 gallons and we've never run out of hot water.
Right.
So this one is pure electric. It's not a heat pump. It's just straight resistance heating. Pretty simple installation. We did add these, what I call heat traps on top of the tank where the pipe will come up, do a jog, come down, and then jog up again. So as the heat travels up that pipe, it tends to stop at that first horizontal. When you look at traditional installations, the pipes sort of run straight up into the rafters and you can sort of lose heat all day, every day through that. So this stops it. And then we just
I've not seen that before. That's a very interesting installation.
Yeah, very inexpensive, very quick thing for the plumber to do. And then we just threw some extra insulation on top to be sure.
Right.
That blue box is actually an energy monitor, and I'll mention that later.
Okay.
Back to the kitchen, all lights in the house are LED. So that's a no-brainer. I think just the oven light can't be LED because it'll melt. Speaking of the oven, our stove is an induction range. So the oven is very much the same as any other oven, but the cooking top is induction. And we did this for energy efficiency, but it's a beautiful stove to work with because heats up very quickly, boils water quickly, and we have younger kids, or did when we moved in, and the risk of burns from the cooktop is a little bit less with these types of stoves. So
excellent.
Quite like it. All the other appliances, like throughout the kitchen and so on, are Energy Star, and this is our ventless dryer. So in a net zero home, you don't really want to poke a big hole in the wall for an exhaust for the dryer because it'll just let cold air in. So we went with the ventless dryer. It has a heat pump in it and a condenser, and it basically takes the moisture out of the clothes and then blows it down the drain. So there's quite a bit of debate out there on how long these take to dry clothes. And from what I've gathered, that's when you're in a humid climate, it takes a long time for the clothes to dry. But we're lucky here in Alberta, that pretty dry climate. This one will start at 90 minutes, but it's never done that because as it runs, it'll adjust the time down based on the moisture of the clothes. So
just above the dryer, I can actually see you have your heat recovery ventilator duct just hidden in the darkness and behind there. So that's taking the air out of this room or bringing it in?
That's pulling it out. That's a good eye there, Andrew. That was our HVAC guy. I definitely recommend putting that in there.
Right.
You don't get a lot of moisture, but you just don't want moisture in your home like that. So that pulls it out. Yeah. But as with anything, best way to dry clothes is on a clothes rack. We have this out on the deck outside, and then we have one in the hallway near that dryer. So let nature do the work.
So another important area for savings is water costs. What features have you incorporated in your home to address water costs, Brian?
So we actually have what's called a rain garden in our front yard. And this was a project made possible by the folks at Rain Gardens for Resilience. And a local contractor worked on this. And what it is they came in and just sort of dug the yard down to create sort of a deep hard pan in the front yard, and then they filled that back up with quality topsoil. And the idea is, when you think back to our roof design that catches most of the water, all that water from the roof is coming down the downspout on the left of the house there. And it actually runs into a pipe under the bed, the raised bed here, and it daylights by these rocks.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is to capture all that water from the roof, make use of it, and then just have it percolate through the garden and water those plants. So your plant selection is important because the raised beds, those are very drought tolerant plants. And then the lower bed is plants that need a bit more water, but can still withstand the prairie climate here. So definitely some water savings here. And the idea of this is it reduces the load on the city storm drain system.
So does the city give you any credit for that because you're reducing your storm runoff?
No, I wish they did, but this is a sort of project you just hope catches on with other folks. So.
Right, fair enough.
As far as our backyard, we couldn't figure out what to do with that space, so we just wanted to flex space, so we put some lawn in. But that lawn, it was seeded, and it's a fescue mix, so it's more meant for our climate. I think this year, it's June right now, and we've mowed this lawn twice, and you do not have to water it. That's one nice thing about it. It's good enough with the precipitation we get, and it grows very slowly, so you don't have to mow it too often.
That's terrific. So are there any other features of your home you want to feature? Perhaps tell us about your electric car.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, go ahead. Tell us, it's you to tell us what you've got.
Yeah, I'll just go back to those energy monitors for a minute. We have been tracking, this one's for the hot water tank. It's an Quanta monitor.
Okay.
Neat little device, tracks the energy usage, and you can actually control it from your smartphone to turn the temperature of the heater down if you're on vacation or something.
Okay.
These are the hydro monitors, and two of them to monitor our heating circuits. So we're tracking hot water, heat, and then for our electric car, the car charger actually has a built-in monitor for it as well. So we've been tracking those for over a year now. Okay. But yeah, getting to the electric car, 2015 Nissan Leaf. We bought it used. Lots of talk about how expensive EVs are. I encourage folks to look at used because we were quite happy with the price on this. My wife uses this for her commute back and forth to her work. And I always like to show the winter picture because EVs do work in the winter. My wife goes, it doesn't matter what's happening for the weather that day, she takes the electric car to her work. It's about an 80-kilometer round trip commute for her. Oh, good. These things are like the battery sits in the floor of the vehicle, giving a low center of gravity. Very fun to drive, very torquey. And I actually prefer this in the winter over the truck that we own. So. Interesting.
So now what would you say is the most challenging aspect, the most challenging thing that you found when you were building your home?
I don't have a traditional build to compare it to, but because this was the first house I ever general contracted, but I guess nothing really. The code inspectors, the city inspectors, they'd have the occasional question like, why is your heat requirement so low, for example? But once we explained, everything we were doing and it just made sense to them, it just wasn't there. You just weren't used to seeing it. So that was always cleared up. As far as working with the trades and the contractors, no issue there either. The most complicated job was for the framer. And he just looked at it and said, well, framing is framing. It doesn't matter what kind of wall you're building. And away he went.
And away he went. So what were the key costs in building your home?
Key costs would have been the insulation, probably more than double on a traditional home or a code-built home. But what we discovered after we added everything up was, yes, you pay more for the insulation, but it's kind of offset by the fact that you're not installing a furnace and the gas fitting and the associated large ductwork for that. So when we really drilled down in the cost tracking, we found those two things sort of cancel each other out.
Interesting.
And in the end, when we did go through our costs and added everything up. We made adjustments for a sweat equity, like we pulled that out and replaced it with actual quotes.
Right.
And then we threw on a healthy sort of builder's markup to make it as if a builder built this home. And it came in at the same cost per square foot as any other home in our neighborhood. Wow. So it just really begs the question, why aren't more builders building this way? And
that is a very good question. And why aren't more builders building this way is the whole purpose of the Echo Solar Home Tour. That's what we're here to talk about. Now, we're just cutting that video short a little bit because we want to give people a chance to ask Brian some questions. So if Gordon, if you've got some questions from our audience, let's send it over to you.
Thank you, Andrew. What a great presentation. My goodness. Passive solar in Lethbridge with no air conditioning. That's perfect. We've had a number of questions come in. Who was the designer of the home?
Designer Gordon was Peter Amarangan of Edmonton. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the best.
Yeah, we did.
And when was it that he designed it?
So we started design in probably 2014, and just took our time with it. Took about a year, and then we started the build in 2015.
So a comment came in here. Nice shading on the front facade. How well does your shading work? And I asked that because there's a challenge, because typically shading is not needed in April because it's colder, but it is needed in August. And yet those 2 months have the same sun angles. So how did you balance that out?
It just kind of worked itself out, because when you look at those two pictures that were shown, one's extreme winter, the other's extreme summer, or the solstice. And just as we move through the shoulder seasons, we find sort of the sun angle will hit the window halfway up or halfway down. Yeah. So it's sort of like it feathers just the right amount of solar gains over the year.
Go back to the previous picture, Andrew. That picture, when was that taken? What time?
So that was December 30th, a few years ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know which season because there was no snow.
Well, it's Lethbridge.
So what do people say to you when you tell them you don't have any aircon, or they come into your house on a hot day and it's nice and cool and they say, oh, isn't it lovely to have air conditioning?
A bit of disbelief, as with most, advancements in technology and industry and such. So we get a lot of folks just don't believe us that we don't need air conditioning. But I mean, it's there. We finally get home from a day at work, walk into the house, and it just feels like we actually do have AC, because the house just traps the cool air in there.
But I mean, the cost benefit analysis for something like that where you don't need air conditioning, that's just huge.
Yeah.
Does it ever, on super hot days though, have you ever thought, oh shoot, maybe we should have put in a bit of aircon, or never?
In the 5 years we've been here, like I go to my wife for this because she doesn't like the heat. There's been maybe 2-3 days out of the years, over those years, that were just problematic. And it's more to do with if we get a streak of, dead calm nights where it's still hot at night, then we can get a runaway condition. But otherwise, it's been great.
So this is the south side of your house, of course. Is it due south?
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. I was really fascinated by that vented overhang soffit on the north side there. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice character to the house too. Yeah.
Yeah, it just prevents, the idea is just to prevent having traditional roof vents. So you have a nice clean surface to put the solar panels on.
Absolutely.
Well, if I can interrupt, I can actually see that you've got your plumbing vents on the back here, which is really interesting. So that means that your entire south-facing roof, if I go back here, the entire south-facing roof is wide open. Yeah. And you have lots of room for solar. And Brian, so when are you considering solar, Brian?
So we're considering it now because the federal grant's been announced. No firm no firm plans. The story behind the solar is we had full intentions of doing that too, but we just missed when the province had the grants available. We were too late in applying and we just didn't get it. So I will mention that metal roof has standing seams on it, which makes it a lot easier to mount your solar racking because there's these special clamps that attach to the seams and then mount your racking, and then there's no drilling into your roof.
How did you manage the extra costs for the metal roof?
You know, when we priced it out, it wasn't too different than sort of the wind grade asphalt shingles or traditional shingles.
I'd suggest that part of it is because that roof is so clean with no penetrations and no dormers or anything else. That's an absolutely straight ahead roof.
Yeah,
right.
Straightforward install.
Did the building inspector say anything about your vented soffit idea?
We actually ran it by him first before because what that overhang is an architectural control requirement. So then when we realized, hey, what if we use it for the venting, we called up the main inspector and he ran some quick numbers and said, yep, that meets code requirement. Did
Peter Amarangan dream this up?
At that stage, we were design on the fly at that stage because we're in the middle of the build. So
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's such a nice cultural thing, I think, too, to have that sticking up there. And of course, it gives you more space for a bigger PV array also.
Yeah, correct.
So it's fabulous. A comment came in here saying induction stoves are getting more notice from chefs. The writer of this who asked this on the chat line. I'm in contact with several who will never go back to gas. The quote, chef's stove is gas, simply no longer true. Induction cooktops are no longer your grandma's electric stove. So that's really fun. Your cellular fiber was, of course, Peter Amarangan loves cellular fiber, so I'm not surprised to see it there. When we did our house in 1986, if you can show that picture, that one's great. When we did our house in 1986, we had 2x8s and we did a blower door test on it. I mean, we were research engineers, so we could do fun things with all this. We did a blower door test on the walls without any drywall in place, so that we could see where the leaks were and whether the leaks were coming in anywhere else in the wall. And then what we did was we slashed the air vapor barrier and did another air change test. And there was no difference in the air change tests. And that just shows how great the cellulose is for making an airtight house. Bunch more questions. Sorry?
It slows it down for sure. Yeah.
Bunch more questions here. How do you like the baseboard heaters? What brand of heaters? Are there any downsides for the baseboard heaters?
Brand is Dimplex, available at Home Depot, like I mentioned. No downside really. I guess
for placement of furniture or anything like that?
Well, there's always the traditional thinking is place your baseboard heaters under the window so you get that certain air movement in the room. With net zero, you can place them anywhere. But in the placement, we just found they wound up under the window anyway because you don't put furniture there. So
good point. What's the total heating capacity of your heating system?
So the design capacity is 8 kilowatts.
Isn't that amazing, hey? 8 kilowatts, so that's about 24,000 British thermal units per hour.
5 hair dryers, I think you mentioned.
Yes, yes. That's just fabulous. Your heat exchanger, how many cores does it have?
Two cores. Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, I'm zipping around a bit because I realize the time is drawing now. How did you decide on the position of the window in the walls, whether it was on the full outside, in the middle as you have it, or on the inside?
That was a recommendation from our designer, Peter, and we just ran with it. Thought it was a good idea to save a few hundred kilowatt hours per year.
Yeah, because there's lots of pros and cons in any one of the decisions. But I know Passive House likes it in the middle.
Right.
So I think we're more or less out of time. Thank you so much, Brian, for this tour on your house. And gosh, next year I hope you can be on again and we can come and see it in person.
Oh, for sure. We will be.
Thank you so much.
And Brian, I want to thank you for bringing the Echo Solar Home Tour to Lethbridge. You came to our tour in Calgary and met up with me and said, hey, we should be able to get a few homes together. And sure enough, here we have 5 homes today to be able to show in Lethbridge. Okay, we're going to move on to our next home. It's also in the Crossings, the same neighborhood, and it's the Crossings Net Zero Energy Home. And this one is a little bit of a different design. We're looking for Valdrin Yashari today to walk us through this home. But what I'll do is I'll go to the presentation and we'll just see if we've got Valdrin on the line. Valdrin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Andrew.
Okay, great. There we go. So Valdrin, walk us through your home. Tell us more about this very interesting looking home and what you've done to make your home energy efficient. I'll just advance the slide so we can see the whole home here.
So mine is also very similar to Brian's house. He was actually kind of the inspiration behind it. I have the lot on the same street on Caledonia there. So I just kind of did the things a little different. I wanted to go a little bit beyond and do something different with the design. Also, a Lethbridge architect, he kind of helped me design it. The shell kind of was my idea with the solar in the south facing in the front. And he kind of did the whole interior. And also there's another detached garage suite on the back that he did on his own. It was Brad Goss from Goss Architecture, which was his last piece of work after he retired. But it's very similar. It's the 2x4 double stud walls, and yeah, we can go enter the next picture. So on the left side, that's where you kind of come in the door. That's the closets there on the left. Straight is the bathroom, and then there's 3 bedrooms here. There is no basement, so this is the first floor, and there's 2 bedrooms on the right. Or if you go back to that picture.
Sorry.
So on the right, there's 2 bedrooms. The one closest here, the door is just a closet under the stairs, and the other bedroom on the left side.
Back here on the left?
Yeah, that's the first bedroom, and then there's 2 on the right side.
One here, one there, and then one there. Okay.
The one that's a closet there by the mouse.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No worries. And then that's just the hallway there, so you can go. So this is the living room. My mom uses it as her sewing. She has a business on the side, so she kind of does all that there. And there's a wet bar there, fridge, and then the utility room is on the left by the fridge. The floor is also, we put about 4 inches of foam underneath. Also, this whole floor is ICF, so it's the thickest walls in the house because we also did 2x4s on the inside.
Okay.
And then also added another 2 inches in the outside and the bottom, so we avoid the frost,
Okay. Okay.
So they're about 16 inches thick, the walls.
Okay.
This is the utility room. This is the hot water tank, which is electric. And this is the HRV. It's live breath with dual core.
So where does that tie into the house? Is that ducted to all the different rooms?
Yes, yeah. So it's takes the air from all the bathrooms.
Okay.
And then and each room has its own fresh air supply.
Okay.
and the living rooms as well. We also put the on the back of the house, since it's the north side, so it's a little cooler, and the air is a little bit cooler when it circulates. This is the electric panel, and then the solar panel there. It's a 200 amp service.
So this is the solar panel. So you have microinverters then?
Yeah, we have microinverters.
Okay.
It's a 12 kilowatt system.
12, okay.
You can go to the next. So this is the facing the going upstairs. So that's going to be a landing, going up to a landing there. This is from the back of the house. So that's another door there to the backyard, which is the landing. And then we have corrugated metal on the whole boxy area of the solar.
Okay.
So this is from the upstairs, the second floor, looking down to the entrance in the back and the landing.
Okay.
This is the kind of the open space living room, kitchen, dining room.
Is on the second floor now.
This is the second floor, yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
I wanted
very nice.
to so we have nice views from the main living area. And yeah, this is the kitchen on the right. Can go to the next one.
Oh, there's the view.
So that's the view. We have a 15 feet wide by 7 feet tall window in there, and it captures the solar gain as well in the winter time. So it's so just like Brian's, it's facing south. It's an exact same street.
Mm-hmm.
And in the winter, the sun rays come in through the window, and which helps with the heating. And yeah, so it's a nice big window. We wanted to avoid a lot of windows too, and have just only the necessities. That way we can, you know, capture more solar gain and not have too much waste, you know.
Okay.
So that's an office on the, if you look straight, that's just an office there, and the living room. So, yeah. So that's the kitchen there.
Okay.
And you can see the intake is on the left there, just where that little eagle thing is.
Sorry, what was that?
The where it takes the exhaust. You see the on the left at the top.
Oh, up here.
No, on the other side. That's where the fresh air comes in.
Okay.
So if you go to the right there, a little bit down, there's like a little.
Oh, right in there.
Yeah. So
that's okay, right there. Interesting.
I tried to kind of hide it in there, so.
Behind the sculpture.
Yeah. And the controls were on that for the HRV as well, below the
Okay.
fresh air. So this is the hallway on the main floor. These are just closets on the right side. Straight is a closet, and then there's a bedroom on the right over there, and a bathroom on the left. So this is the bathroom on the left.
Mm-hmm.
We have baseboard heater there, just a small one. I think it's
Right.
500 watt. And yeah. So this is going upstairs now to the third level.
I need to comment that your house is very green. I'm seeing lots of green walls.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit, make it.
And then a little further up, and then we get to the upper floor. So this is an actual third floor then?
So it's actual third floor, and this is the master bedroom. That's the door to the deck outside, and then this the door here to the bedroom. This is the it has a double shower and a tub.
All right.
It was actually on the floor there. It looks like it doesn't look very pretty because I was going to add some. We made it at the time of framing. We made it lower about 3 to 4 inches, and then I was going to add some like Trex or something to make it all one level, and then look like wood on there as well. So I just haven't got around to it, but it will look better.
All right. I think it looks pretty good now.
Yeah, that's the on the left is the toilet area. The vanity I didn't get a picture of, but it's on between the shower and the bathroom there.
Right.
There's a walk-in closet behind.
Okay.
You can see kind of, and so this is the bed there with what we did also is we took one panel. This is exactly one panel of a solar, and
Yeah.
we took quite a bit of measuring and everything, but we got it to work so it looks nice from the outside, and it's also a window here, and you know it can get some solar.
So this is the only south-facing window on the tall portion of the house,
Yeah,
and it's on.
It's the only south-facing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually looking out through the vertical solar array.
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting.
And there's a fields there in the high school in front there, so it's got
Okay.
really nice views there.
Very nice.
This is the deck. I haven't gotten to finish it, but I was away for like a year and a half to Europe. Right after I finished building it, I left to Europe and I got married and everything, and
Okay.
and then I came back like 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of things that are finished, but this is also what I did is we constructed it to carry a hot tub up here.
Okay.
That little box is the power. It's got I think 240
Mm-hmm.
volt, so that powers the hot tub and can be put up there. So, and then also I'm going to build a pergola up here, so because there's a west-facing window, and just to have some shade and also prevent a little bit of the sunlight coming in and heating up that top room, you know, because this one gets in the summer when it's really hot, tends to get a little bit hotter.
Okay.
Just because of that solar wind, the south-facing window. We have the window here, so that's a very nice deck space. And this is what I kind of tried to design it from the beginning, what I wanted, and nice views up there. So
I'm just going to flip pictures for a second here and go over to this other side, just so the actual balcony is over this left portion of the house.
yeah.
So you have a lower floor that we saw, and then you have the second floor here, which is sort of offset, and then you have a third floor above where the master bedroom is. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And so this balcony is over on this section. Okay, let's go back to the other presentation here. I'll go to the next slide. There we go.
So this is the due to the architectural controls here, we had to put some two opposing slopes. So on this side and that other side of the deck, we had to have these about 5-12 slope, and
Okay.
put 7 panels on here. And, solar.
But here's the main array here.
Yeah, so this is the front. It was kind of an experiment as well, because I wanted to create something unique with the front panels and to make it nice and crisp looking. And it does look really nice. We get a lot of people stopping by, looking at it and taking pictures, and it was nice because Brad, he was able to make it exactly the 3 panels to fit on there, and then also work out that window up there. So it worked out really nice.
Yeah, so that window up there, that's the bedroom window, right?
Yeah, that's the bedroom window at the very top.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 17 panels here, and they're black on black solar, just to make it look nicer. Same with the 7 panels on the slope, and then we have 10 panels on the roof of this flat roof.
Okay.
The next picture, I think, is going to be the.
Oh, okay. So there's even some more up on the roof of the main tower.
Yeah. So these are when we were constructing it.
Huh.
These are just the ordinary looking ones, so they're not the black on black.
Mm-hmm.
I paid a little extra to have that black on black, so it looks nicer on the outside versus putting these ones, which wouldn't have looked so nice.
But the majority of your solar happens to be vertical, so you don't have any snow issues with those ones, do you?
Yeah, no snow, and they don't get dirty either. So.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I think this is back to the, is this back to the balcony now?
Yeah, this is we're on the balcony, and we're looking north. So
Okay.
these 3 lots actually, they're a little bit bigger, and the city allowed us to do suites on the garage. So that's a 3-car garage down there.
Okay.
We have, I think, almost 900 square foot of living space on here.
Sorry, what was that?
It's about 900 square feet of living space here.
Oh, so there's an actual garage suite here is what you're showing us.
And this is net zero as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and then also we did this design, so the roof is also looking towards the sun. So if we want to add more panels, we can add more panels on that roof.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
From the backyard, looking at the stairs going up to the second suite, which actually I do have on Airbnb as well. Whoever wants, whoever wants to experience a net zero home can rent it out. So it's pretty good.
So this is then from the cul-de-sac in behind, and
Yeah.
so is that the suite above there? Is that what we're looking at?
That's the suite above, yeah, and it has a balcony there as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
we took a lot of maximize the space on that lot, so it worked out really good.
It looks like you filled a whole lot of that lot. There's lots of building there. Interesting.
The backyard, I haven't finished yet.
Okay, but here's the front yard.
This is the front, yeah.
Well, now isn't that lovely? A heart-shaped flower bed. Is this for your new bride?
Well, actually, my dad did it. Every house I built, he just always did like a heart in front of it. So it was,
Oh, that's nice.
a little signature mark, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you've just finished this landscaping recently?
This was actually last year.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
Okay, well that's what we have for presentation. So what we'll do, Valdrin, is we'll hand things over to Gordon, and he'll see if there's any questions. And while we're doing that, I'll try to keep pictures up showing the different aspects of your home based on what the questions are about. So Gordon, what kind of pictures have we got?
Well, this is great. Actually, the questions are just starting to come in, but I have some questions too. There was actually a question from the last house that I think might be applied to this one also. Can you remind me your heating system? What are you doing? What are you using with that? And I just say that because I wasn't quite paying as good attention as I should.
yeah, so the heating system is with baseboard heat.
Okay.
And, it's just like Brian's house. So
okay.
He actually was a big. When I did want to build the house, I wanted to try out solar and see how it goes. I never had the intention of doing net zero because I didn't even know it existed. So he kind of introduced me to the whole concept of net zero and double stud, and which I thank him for that. And I thought might as well spend the extra money and try something new and see how it turns out.
Yes. Yes. So
that's the bathroom. Basically.
Go ahead.
That's just the bathroom. I think it's 500 watt.
So the question that came in for the last house, and I think is directly applicable to yours too, you only use electric heating. And the question is, what do you use as a backup for the electric heating should the electrical fail during a prolonged outage?
We don't actually have a backup heat, and it hasn't been a problem in the winter time with the baseboard heat. One thing is when it gets super cold, they do draw quite a bit of power. But I kind of liked when I decided on which heating method I wanted. I liked the radiant aspect of it instead of the forced air aspect.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was personally, I thought it was more healthy, and I wanted, the reason I kind of chose this route is because I wanted a healthier home, and to have the fresh air circulating with the HRV, which is really great compared to like my previous home, which would be some stale air and stuff, and
Yeah.
the whole gas part of it, I just didn't like it, and having like the gas failing when it's cold, or it
Yeah.
blocks, sometimes the snow blocks that pipe outside, and then it fails like that, and it's quite a headache, especially because I have some rentals too, and in the winter time I'm always having to go over there and unclog those vents or call out go gas because something is not working or something, you know. And I just, I don't know, like noticing on the news sometimes there'd be like explosions with homes and with
Yes.
furnaces and stuff. I just didn't want my family to kind of be exposed to something
Yes.
dangerous like that. So
Yes. Thank you. Do you know what the total heating capacity is of all of your baseboard heaters?
actually, I'm not too sure on the capacity it is, but we have 3 bigger ones, which are about ranging 2,500 watt to 3,000 watt on the living areas. And then most of them are 500, on the bedrooms, it's 1,000 watt, bathrooms are 500 watt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't have too much time to do my
That's
homework
okay.
because I got back 2 weeks ago. So
Yes. No, that's okay. How long have you been in your house?
well, I haven't really been in it, but my family has been for a year and a half now.
Okay, so you're still getting used to a few things.
Yeah, I experienced it for the first 2 weeks, and I loved it, and I love it now, and I just, I won't go back to the standard builds. It's just much more insulated with the triple pane windows and the thicker walls. You don't hear the wind here, which is a problem because when you have the 2x6 walls, you're always constantly hearing
Yes.
the wind kind of pushing, and you're thinking like it's going to fall apart or something. So,
And of course, with baseboard heating, you would get, there would be no fan noise, so your house would be nice and quiet.
yeah, exactly.
Right. The response that I would actually have to that question about what backup you use should the electrical system fail due to a prolonged outage, it's that gas furnaces, of course, cannot work also during an electrical outage because they need electricity to run the controls for the gas furnace and, of course, the blower fan. In addition, when you have a super insulated house such as you have and such as Brian has, and this is why I asked about the total heating capacity, is that the heating capacity is so low for these houses because of all the insulation and airtightness that actually I would submit you do not care if there's an electrical outage in terms of heating your house. You do not care because the house responds so sluggishly to changes in outdoor air temperature. And when the Riverdale Net Zero house was under construction in Edmonton, which Peter Amarangan designed, and I was one of the team members, we did what's called a time constant test on the house. It was -30 in the winter in December. It was very, very cloudy out. Nobody was living in the house. The heating system wasn't finished at all. We were heating the house with 2 tiny 1.5 kilowatts, so 1.5 hair dryer electric heaters, one on the upper floor, one on the main floor, nothing in the basement. No, it was one on the main floor, one in the basement, none on the upper floor. And we turned all the electricity to the house and measured the temperature in the house. And at -30 outside, the house went from +21 on the inside to +10 on the inside in a day and a half. And if we'd let it continue, the statistics that we were measuring from this showed that the house would take 4 days to freeze at -30 with no sunshine. So with your passive solar house, with those gorgeous windows that we're seeing here, and also your insulation, you don't care. You actually do not care if the electricity goes out because you're so comfortable in your house.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, in the winter time, it's quite nice because with the windows, it achieves a temperature of like 27 degrees and a lot of solar gain in the winter time, which is really nice. So even if the power does go out, and we should be good until we put it back on. Probably the other houses are going to have more of an issue than us. So.
Yes, absolutely correct. People will be coming over to your house if there's an electrical outage because yours is so resilient.
Yeah,
I had
more heat too with the whole body heat thing. So
I'm sorry.
We'd create more body heat as well because you have to factor that in, the body heat.
Well, we're each equivalent to a 100-watt light bulb. So when you have a party in your house, you have to open the windows because 20 people would overheat your house, which is fun. Actually, I had a colleague in Ottawa when there was the big ice storm there in the late 80s or whenever it was. And he wrote me an email. He lived in a passive solar low energy house there. And he wrote me an e-message and he said, day 11 without electricity. Life is really good. He has candlelight dinners. He had a little wood cook stove to cook on. It was fabulous. So there are ways to make our houses energy resilient, and yours and Brian's are stunning examples of this. Do you know you had a blower door test for your house, of course, I would imagine?
Actually, I didn't have time to get that done. So I didn't do that yet.
It would be wonderful to see what the rating is, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking to set up also the solar, with my smartphone to kind of check.
Yes.
So I was working on that too with Solar Optics, who did the.
Oh yes.
Also, he's just. We thought we'd get it going by today, but we're just having some technical issues. So.
Sure.
Haven't got that going. But.
Meldred, if I could ask a few questions, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about your garage suite. So I'll just bring that up there. Tell me what is the city of Lethbridge encouraging garage suites? What was the permitting like for something like this? You have a lot of coverage on that lot. How was your development and building permits? How did you do with those?
It was a pretty long process with the whole. It took with the planning and everything. It took about a year to get. There was a lot of changes, and sometimes they wouldn't allow the design we wanted. So then we had to kind of go back and forth and accommodate something that would work well for them and for us. But then we settled on this one, and it worked really good. We still have pretty good space in the backyard. I just don't have a picture because I didn't finish it yet. It just kind of bare in there, but yeah, it's nice, and it's actually interesting because it's more comfortable in the garage than in the house, even more. Like just because it's sitting higher and it's not sitting like the thermal bridging is even more canceled out than on the house.
So with this garage setup like this with the finished suite on top, how did you insulate this? You insulated the floor of the suite and the ceiling of the garage?
Yes, yeah, we did.
Right.
We did this about 3-4 feet of insulation on the roof, on the attic, and then we have an R40 on the walls, and then. We also insulated the floor from underneath the garage. So it's nice and warm. Even in the garage, it's really warm. It's good. I'm happy with it. So.
Are there any water saving devices in your house?
So if you go to the first picture, Andrew.
Just give me a second to get there. Hang on. The very first picture in the set, or
looking at the house in the front
of the house coming up. There we go. How about that?
So because I'm in the roofing business, so I did the roofs myself, and we did a 3-ply torch on with a little bit of a slope at the top, and that all slopes down a little bit to the west. We can actually see where the water made a stain there.
Yeah.
After it rained. And then that goes down with down pipes on both sides down to the roof below it on the two slopes. And then that goes to the downspouts to the side of the house on the west side. So I wanted to plan it to have some of those barrels fill up with water. And then we have a garden as well on one portion of the
Downspouts there.
backyard. So all the water comes there. So I wanted to, save the water on those, put some collectors and then water the grass or the garden with that. And it is also wired for electric car in the garage as well.
So your water saving devices, did you have any other ones?
I don't have any other ones actually.
Okay, thank you. Does the master bedroom get quite warm being on the top floor, or with all the insulation around, is it still really comfortable in the super summer?
When it's really hot and there's really hot days, it does get a little warm. That's not bad. You can still stay in it. It's fine. But compared to the other floors, it does get a little warmer. And that's mainly because there is no overhang on this window.
Right.
But we just put the blinds down on here. But the more of the sun comes from that western window, which I plan to put a pergola there.
Yeah.
So if I put that in, then that's going to cut the solar gain.
Are these windows openable?
The front are not, but this one is. That's on the deck, connecting to the deck. You can open that up.
Because of course, with such a wonderfully tall house, potentially you could get a stack effect going if you open the upper window and a lower window.
Yeah.
Get some. Yeah. Let's see here. Some other questions.
Veldern, I'll throw a question out. What part of this house did you like doing best? What was the most satisfying aspect of this house for you? What part do you like best?
I really like the rooftop deck. That was a big challenge because we had to get it engineered to withstand the weight, the snow load, the future hot tub, the people up on there. Then we have the trucks as well, which are quite heavy, and then the pergola. So it's quite a lot of weight up there. So that was a kind of a challenge, but it worked out in the end. It worked out really well. We got really nice views from up there.
Yeah, really nice view from there.
Yeah, and yeah, I think this is my favorite part is on the deck, just because it's nice and high, and everything was kind of designed around having the deck. And then when you notice, we brought out this solar wall forward to cover the windows of the basement. Well, not the basement, but the first floor. And so the other windows all have covering, but so
right here
designed. So yeah, that comes out about 3 feet or so. Same with the top of the big window.
Just shows it a little better, I think.
Yeah.
There's an overhang here, and then this overhang over these 3 windows as well.
Yeah, just for the summer sun not to get in.
Now you just have to deal with the western sun.
Yeah, I just have to deal with the western sun on the at that pergola, and once I get some time and get that hot tub for the winter. So.
Can you comment on the location of the solar PV array on the wall? It's, I think it looks great. And some people are always focused on optimal. So how did you come to do this on the vertical wall?
I thought I really like the look of solar panels. I don't know, just when I was a kid, I was always working with little solar thing, making little solar cars, and just like how it looks, and I wanted to incorporate that
Yeah.
into the house, make something really unique. And I thought it would look really great to have this. And it does look really good. And I just liked, especially with that we did the metal is black on black solar. That even makes it look better. So I just, I wanted
What's the total size of the array?
12 kilowatt.
12 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Are you keeping track of the energy generation of the array and the energy consumption of your house?
I just started now with the solar optics. Now that we're going to get the app and look at it there. But to be honest, the solar wall facing south, I thought it would generate a little bit more than it does. So I think going forward, I'll do more of a slant or do something. Maybe not to have too much solar on the south facing, just because in the winter I find it doesn't generate as much as the roof. But
the fun thing about solar on a vertical surface, of course, is that potentially you can get a lot of reflection off the snow in the winter, if of course you get snow. But I find that the WOG is about 10 or 15% less generation per square meter than an optimal angle. But since solar is so cheap these days, it's actually okay to put it in an architecturally nice way and don't worry so much about the optimum. Just put on more solar PV. Almost who cares where you put it? Doesn't matter whether it's east, south, west, or even north facing. Again, it's so cheap. Just stick it on, it'll be fine.
And then I made that window, so I got the grant for the whole solar, which helped a lot. Helped out a lot, so that was nice. But yeah, exactly as Gordon said, that you can put it for looking for aesthetic reasons, and just like I did, and it looks great. So it's better to generate something than not just have siding and not generate anything.
A question came in. Was there anything special about the basement wall construction?
I wanted to have a more solid house, so I put a little bit more money in this home because it's our family home.
Yeah.
And I wanted just to be nice and sturdy. That's why I did the whole first floor in ICF. And that was nice because it's very structurally good, and then also hold the weight more better for the hot tub and for the roof there. So that was we just had to do a 2x4 wall on the inside and carefully wrap it, make sure there's nothing that can air leak. And yeah, it was challenges, going step by step, but we were able to overcome them.
Yeah, and that's the key, of course. Thank you. Another question came in. What did you find of the whole process of designing the house and building it? You did mention that you really liked the challenge with the roof, and because that's your specialty. But what did you find to be the most challenging part of the whole part of designing it and building it, including, of course, the permitting process?
The most challenging was actually right in my area, roofing, because it's a flat roof. I wanted to have like flat roof, and just for the design aesthetics, and the getting that R value right, because a lot of the heat leaks out of the ceiling. So thankfully, because I am in the roofing industry, I was able to do things a little more high quality and add more insulation myself on top of the roof, and get that R value that is necessary. And so that kind of helped me save quite a bit of money. And yeah, just trying to get that, the R value on the roof by being a flat roof and not having too much space,
And how did you find sealing the roof? Because my perception is that flat roofs can have leakage problems. So since you're in the industry, how did you go about making sure the roof wouldn't leak?
Well, that's why we did the 3-ply torch down. we added a base sheet, and then we torched on a film sheet. Then we did a top capping, and then we added a little bit of slope on the top, very top roof, just to be safe.
Right.
Then we did, I guess if you go to the picture where the deck shows, I'm not sure.
Veldrin, we're out of time. I can't go to another picture, sorry. I've already gone to the next presentation, so.
If anyone actually needs me, I will be in that room.
All right, so.
Okay.
So let's wrap up there. And Veldrin, thank you very much for showing your home today. That's very fascinating. Perhaps next time in Lethbridge, I'll have to do the Airbnb route and stay above your garage.
Yeah, for sure. You can find it on Airbnb, and
perhaps you'll have the electric car charger plugged in by then, and it'll give me an opportunity to plug in while I'm there. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to. So.
Okay, well, thanks again. So the next home we're going to move on to is the Riverstone Net Zero Energy Home. And we are looking for Jacqueline today to come on and tell us a little bit about that home. Is Jacqueline ready on the phone or on the call? Here is the presentation.
She's joined in.
All right, good. Jacqueline. Can you hear me, Jacqueline? I can't hear you.
She needs, oh, there you are.
Can you hear me
There we
now?
Yes.
Sorry, I am moving to work, so I just finished up.
Very good, very good. Well, welcome, Jacqueline. Your home is in the Riverstone neighborhood in southern Lethbridge, and you've got a net zero energy home. That's pretty remarkable. Would you like to just talk me through the slides we have here today and tell us more about your home?
Yeah, so my partner also, Denis, he's on this call as well. So I'm hoping we can get him unmuted as well, because he knows a bit more about the structural stuff than I do in the house.
Okay.
I just wanted an environmentally friendly house. So my partner, Denis, he was one that was kind of helping to make sure it was feasible and kind of structurally doable, I guess I would say, with our builder your home. So you'll see the first picture here, it's very boxy. So we wanted to take some passive energy, passive energy ideas from the passive house world, and try and really minimize how many corners we had in our house. So you'll see, yeah, our house is kind of brought it very close to the front of our property line and a bit boxy, just to make sure we didn't have as many corners. We also have a garage in the back, so a double car garage in the back with solar panels on it as well. So that's why our house, we wanted to move up the front of our house quite close with our garage in the front, just because we needed a bit more space in the back. You'll notice too that the overhang on the master bedroom is on your screen, is on the left. It has that overhanging, yeah, right there. Yeah, perfect. That like little kind of like the farmhouse overhang, just to make sure that when the sun is setting, especially in the summer, we don't have a ton of sun coming into that top bedroom, just so we're not overheating the house. Yeah, and all those windows in the front have high R values, and yeah, they try and limit the kind of the sun rays so it doesn't heat the house as much. I think that would be, yeah, next would be good. And then Denis, did you want to say anything?
No, you've got it covered so far.
Okay, so feel free to jump in. So yeah, I'm in Ottawa or Gatineau just because I'm here for the summer for working. So that's why we're in two different spots right now. The side of the house, you can see we had some prefab concrete. As in that picture by the side of the house. So our builder Greener Homes, this was manufactured, so typically it causes less waste because it's made in a manufacturing site. So there's a lot less waste that goes on if you were to traditionally get it poured. It's also insulated a little bit differently, and Denis, maybe we can touch on that. And then you can also see we have just a lot of windows. So the windows that you see with the overhang again on the I guess the south facing side-ish of the house, that overhang is there again to make sure that during those hot summer months we don't have a ton of sun. It's still bright, but we don't have direct sunlight coming into our open area and overheating the space. On the back windows, you'll see too that we don't have that, just because that area doesn't get a ton of sun. So we didn't really need it. And then you kind of get solar panels. You can kind of see on the garage right now. Denis, anything else to add to this picture?
To add to this picture, no. You've again covered it.
So this, so what we're looking at here, we're looking at the south side then?
Yeah. So those the windows that kind of have that pinkish kind of glare on them right now, that's east facing, and then the ones that the awnings, those are south facing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The south facing is right behind Denis right now.
Yeah.
And then babe, do you want to take it? Do you want to do this picture?
Well, what kind of questions are there about this picture?
We're just doing an overview of the house right now, Denis. We're just trying to find out more about the house, and then the questions will come later.
Yeah. So I mean, this picture you can obviously see the bigger picture. So we've got, like Jacqueline was saying, that the garage in the back and everything's pushed as far, I guess, north as possible to give us more yard for when we do finally get the landscaping, and we plan on putting a garden, kind of a nice like patio back there, fireplace and everything like that. Also, you can see the entire solar array up there, which we have 12 kilowatts. I think it's 30 panels in total. They work fantastic, especially these last few months. When we've had a lot of sun, it's been itself off quite nice.
Well, let's move into the house. Tell us about your house.
I'll let Jacqueline take over for that.
Well, so we wanted kind of a very bright home and kind of very modern and open concept. So this is as you walk in the front door, we have, you can kind of see on the stairs there, we have the, Denis, I might need you to ask, what is it called again? That's the German flooring, Pure Line, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Pure Line Wineo. It's natural made from, a bunch of different plant oils and stuff. It is essentially a laminate flooring, but there's no VOCs, plastic involved. It's really durable, self-healing, just environment friendly.
Yeah, and then when you walk in, you can kind of see it's very bright. So we have a lot of windows, obviously, and it's great because you don't really need a whole lot of lights on. That's a window, I guess, facing south, looking into the farmer's field, and we're standing in the laundry room. So we put the laundry room, we combined it, mudroom and laundry room, right off the garage. And then here's our living room. So again, a lot more windows. So very open concept. And these are the ones that are east facing. And I think they're just really high. Again, Denis, you might be able to tell us how high, but they're really high R value. You can kind of see too we have a vaulted ceiling on the main floor, and Greener Homes made sure there's a lot of insulation there. We have, again, Denis can maybe comment on how much insulation's in there. I think there's 3 or 4 feet or more than that.
Well, the R value in the ceiling is R100 plus, and then I'm pretty sure with any net zero or passive home, walls are all the same, so right around R40, right in that range.
So here's some details.
There we go.
Yeah. So our house looks quite tall from the outside, but then when you get in the inside, obviously we've it's still a nice ceiling, but it's packed a lot with some insulation, so we don't lose heat or cooling from the roof.
What's the construction there, Denis?
So the walls, I'm not sure if you can tell from the photo or not, but they are double studded walls on a 2 plate, and that's well, first it allows more space for insulation, but it also prevents the thermal bridging with the typical house with the 2x6 studs. It's from inside to outside, and there is actually quite a bit of bridging, that sort of thing. Double studded walls, it prevents almost all of that from happening.
And then we have the insulation going in.
Yeah, so that's the spray foam. There's a of the foam in the window header thing with higher density foam just to prevent heat loss, heat gain.
So was this sprayed in and then shaved? Is that what I'm seeing?
No, so there's essentially like a cage, like extruded metal cages that they put over top of it while they spray, and it does hold, I'm going to say 90% of it in there. There is a slight bit of shaving that needs to be done afterwards, but no, it is all held in there while it's being.
Interesting. So this is all spray foam in the double stud wall.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now we're back to the beautiful looking home here.
Yeah, so that's just the. I mean, where I'm sitting right now, looking straight ahead, I'm looking at you guys being in that. So it is one big open concept on the main floor. So kind of like the living area where I'm currently see the.
You're breaking up, Denny. Jacqueline, you want to explain what we've got here?
Yeah, so I don't know why. I'm hoping, am I breaking up? I'm pretty good.
No, you're fine.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so this is now looking into the kitchen. So we have all Energy Star rated appliances. So you can see our fridge on the side. We're lucky to find a Venmar. Oh, that's my ice machine going. A Venmar hood fan was energy efficient as well. Okay. We have all low flow or water conscious sinks and appliances. And then on the left, that door there is our pantry. So okay. Yeah, I don't know what else is there to say about the kitchen, Denise.
Well, you've got another picture, so you can say more.
Yeah, there you go, right? Yeah, so you can see, so we went with 2 sinks, because it's a really big open concept kitchen. So we have the sink over on the other side. More so we kind of have that as our bar area. Again, just really want to keep it light and fresh and very open and very modern. So that's why we chose kind of the white on white. We have a tuxedo kitchen, which means that we have basically opposite colors. So we have white on the cabinets and then black on the top, and then vice versa on the island. And then yeah, so our bar sink again is just low flow, very very small. And then yeah, we wanted to keep it again open concept with some of the shelves, and also closed concept with some of the shelves. So we kind of wanted to mix old and new. Yeah, you can go next. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, if you want to hit next there, Andrew, I don't think there's, unless there's anything else, Denise, you want to add?
No.
And then this is kind of looking, we have a powder room on the main floor. So we have our toilet there is I have very, very, very low flow, dual flush toilet. And again, granite countertops throughout just because it's a natural stone, really no plastic, which is what I like. Yeah. Anything, Denise?
Then move on to the bedrooms here.
Yes. Yeah. So now we go up the stairs, and so our on top of our garage, we have our little master ensuite and master bedroom. So it's just looking at, we kept 2 smaller windows in the upstairs just to kind of limit the amount of light. Well, we have good light coming in, but limit the amount of heat. We were really lucky. We were surprised by this. We didn't know we were going to get this. So we have like an inset ceiling. We were really happy about that. We were really excited about that. That was a surprise from Greener Homes that we didn't know we were going to have, which is awesome. Yeah, just double-sided walls again, really good insulation, really good soundproofing too. We have neighbors next door and you can't really hear them at all, which is fantastic, which is nice because Riverstone is we're quite packed in there in Riverstone. Yeah. And then again, you can see our flooring throughout is still that Pure Line Moneo flooring from Germany. And go next. And then here's our ensuite. So we kind of, our ensuite bathroom. So we splurged on this. So again, granite countertops as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's very white. Denise might be able to touch on again. We have the low flow faucets and the nice, the beautiful rain head, shower head. But again, low flow, really awesome. You can get function, style, and environmentally friendly. So that was huge for us. Yeah, and I don't know, like Denise might be able to say too. We have, I think that we have the type of
Soaker tub?
Denise, what is that? Well, there's a soaker tub, yes, but no. What's it? What's the stuff on the wall?
Sorry.
What's this? What isn't it like it's the mold resistant?
What
Oh,
is
the drywall?
Yeah. That's pretty standard in every single
Okay, I
house.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know then.
And a soaker tub in there as well. Pardon me.
Very, very cool. Denise wanted a 72-inch soaker tub, so we have that's what maybe the most unenvironmentally friendly thing in our home is that we have a massive tub. We don't use it very often, but Denise is a tall guy, so he wanted to be able to sit in the tub nicely. So again, low flow. Even though it's low flow, it's an amazing faucet or shower set. Amazing, yeah. So, but just very large. So we do use a bit of water sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, and this is just kind of looking in from the back. This is from the bedroom looking in.
There's that tub.
Yeah.
That's a huge tub again. Yes, very large. Again, that one is that window is more of has a screen on it, so you can't really see in. This is downstairs now.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep up with you.
No, you're good. No, it's all good. I don't really. Yeah. So go ahead, Denise. Do you want to say anything about downstairs?
I mean, no, downstairs, same flooring. We have the same flooring throughout the entire house, but
Okay.
You can't really tell from the photos, but we went with 9-foot ceilings in the basement. So you don't feel like you're kind of cramped in a basement. As well, we actually had spray foam underneath the concrete slab to help prevent any sort of.
That I have. So this is the same picture, but this is during construction, right?
Yeah. So you can actually see the insulation under the slab there. And that has, during the wintertime, makes a big difference. You don't feel the cold coming up through the ground into your feet when you're standing down there, which is nice because there's no carpet, obviously. Again, the walls that aren't the prefab concrete, that back wall is also double studded wall. We did not soundproof insulation the floor between the basement and the upstairs. It's not a suited house. It's just the two of us living here, so we didn't feel like we needed that.
And so on the right is this prefab wall, is that correct? But it also looks like it has studs coming out of it. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so it does have studs. Again, that's a 8-inch wall there, and there is steel studs that are, I guess, cast into the concrete as well. So you don't have to build an additional 2x4 frame wall and lose more floor space when they put that all together.
I have a picture of the concrete as well. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's so your basement is essentially at grade. So it's a walkout back basement then.
It is a walkout basement. That's correct.
Okay.
That's just the bathroom in the basement for, guests or whoever's staying over. Again, granite countertops. We have the same toilets all throughout the house. They're those Australian-made Caroma toilets, extremely low flow, as well as the shower fixtures in there also are very low gallons per minute. And that's just standing at, I guess that would be on the one side of the basement. Look, you can kind of see the edge of the stairs coming down there. There's that little window. Not much to see through that window. It's just looking right at the fence. This is one of the spare bedrooms downstairs. Very basic, just a box of a bedroom, around 12 by 14 feet. And that's the other one right there.
Okay.
This is our mechanical room. You can't really tell what's going on in there. Directly to the left of this picture, you can see the hot water tank that stands about 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall almost. It is a heat pump hot water tank, which uses hardly any power. There's HRV above the hot water tank, barely squeezed in there.
I think there's the HRV, and then I think we've got a picture of the heat pump.
Yeah, so there's there's the two little pumps that circulate the fluid that goes through the geo loop in the ground, and then just to the right of that is the actual heat pump.
Okay. And it looks like you have some hydronic heating going on here. Is that what's going on here?
No,
or is that hot water?
That's just the water supply lines to the different faucets. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And look, you've got some awards. Tell us about your awards.
I'll let Jacqueline do that.
What? Oh yeah. So yeah, I think our builder, Greener Homes, won an award for energy efficient housing with the Build Green, and I think Build in Lethbridge. Yeah, so I think, I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, so it's I don't know. What else
well, it's net zero certified
right.
with all the plaques downstairs certifying that. Build Green, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think our builder said we're not the first net zero home, but we're the first certified net zero home in Southern Alberta. So certified, people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it goes through third party and then it goes through the government of Canada to make sure CB, like the Canadian Builders Home Association, they've approved it as a net zero. So we're recognized through the government's eyes as a net zero home.
Very good. Very good. Okay, I think that's all we have from the presentation. So, Gordon, I'm just going to put you on the spot and bring you back in and talk and ask you to start the questions. Gordon, what kind of questions have we got today?
Yeah, thank you so much. Boy, what a delight seeing your house. I love the views from your upper floor. That's just fabulous. What was the idea? So a question that came in, what was the idea behind the concrete wall?
So the concrete wall, the reason that's there is because we didn't typical poured basement structure. There is the footing underneath there, but the reason it's so high is because that is essentially the entire height of the basement. And because we didn't want to lose any heat through concrete walls or anything like that, we went with the prefab because it has the built-in insulation. Now, it's not the same R value as our spray foam double studded walls, but it is substantially better than just a poured concrete wall.
And so how much insulation is underneath your basement floor?
Underneath the basement floor, I do believe there's about 4 inches of high density polyurethane foam there.
So R12 or R16 or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know the R value underneath the slab there. I would say 12 or 16.
And how about the edge of your basement floor? Does the basement floor is concrete, is my understanding. Does it go to the outside, or is it bounded by the vertical wall coming and preventing the heat loss to the outside from the basement floor?
It is bound by the vertical wall.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Greener Homes designed this or just built it? Greener
Homes and Jacqueline and myself designed it, and Greener Homes did the entire build.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What was the size of your heat pump?
So it's 48,000 BTU. So it's a 4-ton heat pump. The reason that it had to be sized so large in comparison to the square footage of the house is because during the heating season, you need that extra capacity to be able to supply enough heat for when we have those minus 30-degree days without having to use auxiliary electric heat, which basically robs any sort of efficiency that you had already.
Yeah. And how do you use the air conditioning at all in the summertime?
Yeah, we've used it. Well, last week when we had, plus 38-degree weather, we did actually run the air conditioner, which is, as you know, it is a part of the heat pump. So it's equally as efficient as when we're heating. When it cools off at nighttime, though, we do have windows, facing east-west, so we can open up windows and the breeze comes through the house, cools it off as long as you close the windows and coming in, it'll stay pretty cool throughout the day. But because we do have such hot summers here, we do have to run the air conditioner occasionally.
Yeah. How many boreholes are there, and what is their depth?
So there's a header that goes across the length of the backyard, and then there's 10 vertical risers that go down about 250 feet.
Uh-huh. And do you have an idea of what the cost is?
For the entire geo field to be drilled with the geo unit, the pumps, everything involved, ooh, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to say probably right around $18,000 to $20,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like from this picture here that this unit in the basement, sort of, if people didn't know otherwise, they'd say that's the furnace.
Absolutely. And that's when I have people over, I tell them this is the furnace, and then I explain what it is, because essentially it is a furnace. I mean, it blows your air through. So
yeah,
any regular person would, yes, call that a furnace for sure.
Yeah.
So it works just like a furnace. It's got the air handler in it. It's got the filter, the furnace filter, same as regular furnace filter, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. But instead of having a burner section that burns a bunch of fuel, all it has is the air conditioning coil, which during the heating season, there's a reversing valve because it's a heat pump, which takes the charged gas and the heat of compression and then dumps that into the house.
And so you hear a click and suddenly you're doing air conditioning.
Yeah, absolutely. You hear a click, hiss, because the refrigerant is changing directions, and yeah, then you have air conditioning.
And the fun thing about it, of course, is that when you're air conditioning, a heat pump just pumps heat from A to B. And in your case, in the winter, it pumps it from the ground to your house. But in the summertime, you're actually heating your ground. You're storing your heat from your house in the summer into the ground, and you're recovering some of it from the ground back into your house in the winter.
That's right. Yeah.
That's how it works. And of course, the ground source heat pump is also a gigantic solar collector. Not efficient, but anyways, a lot of the heat in the ground does come from the summer heating, the summertime solar heating.
Yeah.
Which is a fun way to look at it. Can you describe the flooring in some more detail? I myself am quite fascinated by it.
I'll let Jacqueline take over for that. Jacqueline?
How do you spell the word that you described it?
The brand name is Wineo, so WINEO.
WINEO. Okay, thank you. And
Yeah.
I think you used the word Pure Line too.
Yeah, Pure Line is just this line of flooring from that company.
Okay. Okay, I see that we have to ask Jacqueline to unmute. So
I'm back again. Sorry. Yeah. So I believe it's the way they manufacture it. It's a type of oil. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like I had to look up again. It's like a vegetable oil. So it's somehow they refine it but it comes from a type of vegetable, the oil that makes this flooring. So
is this a type of wood flooring with oil on it, or what?
No, it's not. It's like Jacqueline was saying, it's castor oil based. I have no idea the manufacturing process as to how it's made, but
well, what they used to call linoleum was made from linseed oil, so which was a vegetable oil type. So this might be a type of linoleum, but it's linoleum, of course, is a trade name. So this might be their version of that, but as you say, made with vegetable oil and likely vegetable fibers.
Yes, that's correct.
And I see that Shelley posted a link on our chat here to en.wineo.de, so we can find more information from clicking on that. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you to our volunteers for keeping ahead of us. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Another question that came in was, what was your cost per square foot for the total house?
Holy moly, it's a good question. I don't know. Okay. Maybe Jacqueline can do some quick math, but I don't know that number.
And that's okay.
Perhaps a better question would be, how does your house price compared to the other houses in your neighborhood? Are you a lot more expensive, a bit more expensive? Where do you think you are?
So for cost wise, in comparison, so the equivalent house that's built just to code would be, I would guess, roughly $70,000 less expensive. Maybe, well, probably closer to the $60,000 mark. And almost all of that cost comes because of the geothermal and the solar array.
And how long have you been in the house?
We moved in November of 2020, so not even a year.
Okay, so we need to have your house on the tour next year so we can see what it's like throughout for a year's worth of performance and bills and things like that.
That's right, yeah.
It would be
And
wonderful.
we're a net zero plus, so we actually make money off of it.
So are you in Lethbridge itself?
No, west. Yeah. It's the west side, but as far south on the west side of Lethbridge.
But are you served by the City of Lethbridge electric system or by Fortis?
We are served by City of Lethbridge Services, but we have our power coming from Camrose Energy because they offer a service for the solar panels.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah. But they only sell you the electricity. Maybe it's the City of Lethbridge that delivers it.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
So that's part of the Solar Club. So Camrose Energy and Solar Club are one of our sponsors in Lethbridge. So perhaps we'll just explain that for a moment. Basically, what it allows you to do is when you have solar, you actually get paid what you pay for the energy that moves back and forth. So if you're in the wintertime, you can sign up through this group for somewhere around 6 cents a kilowatt hour for your energy cost. But in the summer, when you're actually making more electricity than you consume, you can sign up for a higher rate, which I believe right now is 25 cents a kilowatt hour. Gordon, what's the actual amount?
Yeah, 25.85, of course, plus GST. So it's 27.1.
27. So when you do that and you're actually making more solar, they actually allow you to switch back and forth seasonally without penalties. So you can switch to the low rate in the wintertime and to the high rate in the summer. And what this is doing for people with a lot of solar is it's actually helping offset their entire electric bill.
So from what I have heard from people in Edmonton who are on the Solar Club price is that for a net zero home, their electricity bill over a year is typically a credit of $1,000. So that depends on lots of factors, of course, but nevertheless, it's a credit because of the fact that there's so much energy used in the winter. So that means you need to generate lots in the summer and it's exported at the high price, which is really good. It's a great way to encourage people to build these kinds of houses so that more people can gain experience with it. And you can find out more information about the Solar Club by going onto their website, which is solarclub.ca. There's 20 marketers around the province, one of which is Camrose Energy.
Mm-hmm. So Jacqueline and Denis, what is your experience with the Solar Club price this last couple of months? How is it looking for you?
It's actually looking really, really good. The amount that we've been producing opposed to the amount that we've been consuming, we're producing drastically more than we've consumed. So even after the first couple of months, we've noticed a pretty decent sized credit on the bill. Well, I can't really call it a bill because we don't have to pay it, but yeah, we have noticed a pretty decent sized credit building up. So hopefully throughout the rest of the summer, we'll have accumulated enough credits to carry us through the entire winter with some to spare at the end.
That is the goal.
You will. Yep. So again, I'm sorry, I'm intrigued by the floor. So is the floor like a linoleum floor in terms of its thickness?
No, it's almost identical to a typical laminate tongue and groove snap together flooring.
Oh, I see. So what's that, like 5 or 6 millimeters or something?
I would say it's about 5 millimeters thick. Yeah.
It looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you, I can't remember if I asked this question. Have you had to use the aircon yet?
We have, yes. When it got really, really warm outside, we did Well, Jacqueline's been away, but I did actually turn it on just to keep it comfortable in the house.
Mhm. And you were mentioning how quiet the house was. Are you near a high traffic area at all?
Not at all. No, it's a very, I mean, in general, it's a quiet neighborhood. The only reason people are here is if they live here. There's nothing else around. But the fact that it's a new neighborhood and there's a lot of construction going on,
Right.
there's a lot of heavy machinery outside all the time, big gravel trucks driving up and down, and you can barely hear them. If you weren't looking out the window and looking at it, you'd have a hard time knowing it was there.
Do you have lots of openable windows so you can get ventilation coming through?
There is quite a few. We tried to minimize it as much as possible because the opening windows obviously allow more, infiltration. And when you do that blower door test, you don't want to have, you want the least amount of air infiltration as possible. But we do have as many as we thought feasible east to west. So when we do have cooler evenings, we can open the windows and that breeze just goes right through the house.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
A question just came in. Are there any, did you recognize any learning curves coming from a traditional home into your geothermal home?
No, not in particular.
I have one actually, yes, Denise.
Okay.
So the one thing I think Denise had to learn is that with a net zero home or with especially with the geothermal, you usually keep it at a standard temperature. And so Denise coming from where he likes to, you sometimes it goes down to 17 when you're not at home, and then it goes up to 23 when you're home, or 24. So with the geothermal, it's more efficient to keep it at a standard temperature. And so I see that would be probably one learning curve for Denis.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Our old place, but that was one. Yeah. Anything else, Denis?
No, I mean, other than the fact that the house is incredibly sealed tight, you do have to keep an eye on when you run your exhaust fans. So the kitchen exhaust, like above the range, you got to be kind of careful because you will pull a negative pressure in the house, which you'll start to see frost and condensation build up on doorknobs and door locks and door hinges and stuff like that if you're not running the HRV, making up that air as you're expelling it.
Do you run your HRV as a function of a humidistat?
No, we could, but we don't. The humidity stays pretty steady in the house. I could run it as a dehumidifier if it got too humid in here, but we haven't run into that issue.
One of the things that I think is very interesting with super energy efficient homes is that there's no need to have night setback, because the house responds so slowly to temperature changes that if you turn the heat off, even super cold weather, you turn it off when you go to bed at night, and maybe it's lost 2 degrees by morning time. Yep. So it's really no use to have night setback thermostats anymore.
Yeah, that is right.
So, and it doesn't save you much energy, of course, because your house is so stunningly well insulated.
That's correct. Yeah. And like Jacqueline was saying, it for the heat pump, it's harder for the heat pump to recover those 2 degrees. If it did drop 2 degrees overnight, than it is for it to just maintain, throughout the night. So if you have it set at 20 degrees during the day, it's easier for the heat pump just to maintain that than it is to recover those 2 degrees if it does drop. So the efficiency, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but it's easier on the equipment just to let it maintain instead of shutting it off.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. I have to say that I do a setback during the day when I'm expecting solar heating of the house, and then have the heat pump come back on later in the day to bring the temperature back up. But taking advantage of whatever solar heating I can get during the day.
Yeah, that's true. And like Jacqueline was pointing out, above the south-facing windows on the main floor, those awnings, in the wintertime when we had minus 15, minus 20 degree weather, we had enough solar gain just from windows that the heat during the day really didn't have to run. It would actually bring the temperature above what we had it set to. So, if we had it set for 20 degrees, just the solar gains, we would be, 22 degrees by the time we get home from work. So it doesn't really have to run that often as long as we have the sun shining.
For people with with super energy efficient houses like yours and Valdrin's and Brian's, for example, it'd be really fun, but I'm saying this as an engineer, of course, it'd be really fun at the super cold day in the winter time, just to turn off all your heat to your home and see how slowly your home degrades in its temperature.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to try. If I had to guess, if it was minus 20 degrees outside, I feel like we could have the heat shut off for, I'm going to say at least 3 days before we had to worry about anything bad happening.
Yeah. And of course, with lots of passive solar like you guys, like your houses have, then a nice sunny day, you shouldn't be seeing, even in the coldest of winter, you shouldn't really be seeing your heat come on at all.
Exactly.
Well, Denny and Jacqueline, thank you so much for showing us your home. That's all the time we have. We're going to move on now to our last home of today in Lethbridge, and that's the Lethbridge County Net Zero Energy Home. And this is a really interesting one in an acreage out east of town. And we have a video to introduce this home, so I'm going to start with the video. And this is a very short video, and once that video is done, we'll come back and we'll take a look at some pictures of the home, and then we'll do a discussion of it. So let's start with the video.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Casa Verde. My name is Rudy Rager. I would love to invite you to come see our net zero home. Come on in. When considering a net zero home, the most important part is the orientation of the house and the whole envelope. So we faced our backyard towards the pond to the south. So all our windows are actually on the south side. So we have a lot of passive solar. As well, we decided to not put any windows on the north side and only 2 windows on the west side because of the cold wind. So our windows are all basically east and the south. So we have a beautiful, bright house, but we get a lot of passive solar of that. As well, we went with a 13-inch walls that is over R50, R value. So we almost doubled in an average house on the R value on the walls. And on the ceiling, we went over R100. So we believe the most important part is obviously the envelope, so make it as tight and as inefficient as possible. So by doing that, you're actually reducing the mechanical requirement for heating and cooling. Then you have to move over to decide what kind of mechanical you want to use. We decided to go with a ground source heat pump, the geothermal. That's the most efficient way of heating and cooling the house. Plus it works all 3 ways, on the heating side, on a cooling side, and it can do in-floor. So I don't require a boiler, I don't require a furnace, and no air conditioner. It's all done by one heat pump. And by using that as well, now because we have no natural gas and just the heat pump, we put a 15 kilowatt solar panels onto this property, so we can completely run net zero and creating more power than we actually consuming. And as well, we decided to go with the most efficient appliances. So for us, everything was important, not just the envelope. We went with the most efficient appliances on the stove and washer and dryer and dishwasher and even coffee maker. As well, we went with extremely energy efficient shower heads and toilets, Australian toilets. So we're reducing our water consumption significantly. Overall, we just try to create a whole envelope, the whole building, everything is inside here to make it as environmentally as possible, and utilizing all the free stuff that we can get from the gray water heat recovery, the air source water heater, and of course the solar panel is the most important part. We decided to go with a ground source heat pump. It's basically, people say, a geothermal. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit the system itself. This is the ground loop. We went here with a pond loop, so our pipe actually is in the pond, not down in the earth. It comes into this pump station first, runs through the compressor, that's actually the geothermal unit itself, run through it, and will create in-floor heating, forced air, and heating. So we've got heating, cooling, and everything in the garage. So we have, in the garage, we have in-floor heating. Then we have a distribution center that one air handler runs the upstairs. So I have heating, cooling upstairs, and one air handler that runs the main floor, heating, cooling, plus, like I said, the garage is in-floor heating. So we chose geothermal because we believe it's one of the most efficient way of heating and cooling. Plus, we can utilize our 15 kilowatt solar panels to reduce our utilities to zero. We have no utilities in this building. We don't have gas coming to this building. So all the power we use, we're utilizing our solar system. So end of the year, we're at absolutely zero. And as well, we have gone with the most efficient air source, German design air source water heater that creates all our domestic water for our house. And we've been tracking it for about 3 years now. We're averaging about $4 a month on hot water cost. And in order to save even more hot water, we went as well with a gray water heat recovery, that every time we shower, we're utilizing all the free hot water goes into the sewer, we capture it and send it back into the tank. So every light in this house is LED as well, including the driveway actually has a commercial style solar LED lights for the driveway. We went with a triple pane windows, European design, triple pane windows. And for the garage, we have in-floor heating, but as well, we have an air source heater outside that actually will call a daytime heater. Anytime the sun comes out, I will actually create free heat for the garage as well. And all the switches here are Bluetooth wireless switches. So we actually used a lot less wires. There's no wires going to any of the switches. So we saved ourselves miles and miles of wires here as well. We have 2 electric cars like the BMWs. So we have my wife drives the i3 electric and I drive the i8. It's a plug-in hybrid. It's a lot of fun, and sure, it's nice not to go to the gas station. Thank you, folks, for coming. We'll talk to you soon later.
Okay, that's a lovely introduction. Thank you for putting that video together, Rudy. And now what we will do is we've got some additional pictures of your place that we can go through. Rudy, welcome to the Echo Solar Home Tour. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we've got some pictures here of some different views. Do you want to just explain some of these pictures as we go through them, Rudy?
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah, this is the front door. This is facing north, where I talked before. We have no windows, so we especially didn't want any cold winter wind coming into our house, so we blocked it. And from the north side, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one here. There we go. And there's your cold winter wind.
Yeah, there it is. That's a winter picture. Yeah. It looks a little different now. That's a bunch of landscaping, but at that time we had nothing yet.
Okay, all right. Let's hit the next one here. Now, this is one of the features of your home, is this pond. Tell us about the pond.
Well, the pond basically is, as a joke, we always said we didn't want to move unless we moved to the waterfront. So we decided to, well, let's just build a pond. So we needed to backfill our house. The county wouldn't allow us to build unless we had a certain height for a high water table. So we basically dug a pond that's about 1.2 acres big. And the very far is the deepest is 30 feet deep. So it's quite a nice looking pond. And at the same time, we decided to utilize the pond for our geothermal. So we actually put the geothermal loop right into the bottom of the pond. So now we can utilize the heating, cooling from the pond. And in the summertime, we actually have a little dock, and the water's clean enough and warm enough to swim. And in winter, we skate.
Very interesting. So you used the excavation from the pond to build your site up a bit. They required you to raise your site, the site where your house is? It looks like it's on a bit of a platform there.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. We raised it probably, I would say, close to 5 feet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a wet area.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, in the geothermal, so in this case, you actually used a loop that would be horizontal under the pond. Now, is it buried in the bottom of the pond, or is it just sitting on the bottom?
No, it's actually just sitting in the bottom of the pond.
Okay, all right.
We don't want it in the dirt because water is a very good heat conductor, so we actually want to have the water go around the pipe. Yeah.
Actually in contact with the pipe. Very interesting.
Right.
Now, it's deep enough that it'll never freeze down there.
Oh, no. Anything past 12 feet, we actually safe with the pond. And this is like 30 feet. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. This is on the same side, on the south side, but more towards the west where we put the solar array. Yeah.
So I have another picture here of the solar array, and tell us, how did you mount that solar array?
We actually went with screw piles.
Okay.
Just because so I can cut with a lawnmower, cut underneath there, and we have potential deers coming around and grandkids running around. We figured let's have it off the ground a little bit. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to put it on a roof because we have all the space available. So usually a roof might be a good idea as well, but we decided to go ground mount. So now, if it does snow in the morning before I go to work, I just swing by with a big long broom and I can sweep it off. And I have solar all year round instead of waiting till the sun gets rid of the snow, right?
So you put them down within reach so that you can get to them.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So there's more on the solar. Let's move inside. What tell us about some of these interesting finishings.
So, for example, this staircase was a little bit unique. It was one of a kind. My brother happened to be a wood carpenter maker, or he's commercial woodworker, what do you call it? And we drew it up on a napkin a little bit to have a little bit of a unique staircase. And he actually built it from scratch and designed it for us. And one arch in the back, that cross arch in the back, we had 12 people carry that one in.
Wow.
It's solid wood, and it's pretty unique. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice staircase. Now, what's this? This is like a balcony?
Yeah, basically we have like a loft, and we have basically on one corner where you see the light on top, that one corner just for the looks, because it's not a very big house. So we figured to make it look bigger, we actually went 33 feet tall wall on one side.
Up to here.
And that's actually changed our balcony. So we didn't need to put a post in the bottom. We actually have chains that actually hold the balcony up.
So bending it from the roof rather than from the bottom.
Yeah, we had a special design of trusses, so it actually will be engineered. Otherwise, we would have a big pillar right in the middle of it. But if you see the couch, the green couch, it would have been a big pillar otherwise.
Right.
And this way looks a little unique with the chains, from the roof. Yeah.
Okay. We have a few more pictures of those later, but so tell us about this is your main living space.
That's our living room, basically our bottom main floor, and we designed it so all the doors are flush with the outside. So if we potentially come to the time that we can walk, we actually prepared ourselves right beside a staircase to have an elevator installed.
Okay.
But the rest would be all ground level, so we can come in with hopefully not, but if we have to, with a wheelchair.
Okay, so where would you put the elevator? Just
on the right-hand side by the door, there's actually a spot made and a foundation, right there on the right side,
Okay, so right by this door, so you would have an elevator that would go up and it would tie into this balcony here.
Correct, yeah. Our bedrooms are upstairs, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so just a few more shots. Now, these are south-facing windows?
That's all south, bottom and top, and then a little balcony you see on top, that's actually just for looks for the bedroom. That's where the bedroom is on top.
The bedroom balcony.
Yeah.
So you can serenade sweet Juliet.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Now this is a better picture. This shows that little loft, and you can see how it's supported by chains above. That's very interesting. And then this door, as you were just saying before, so you would put the elevator over top of this door
No,
and run it up
right beside on the right-hand side, opposite from the staircase. Right there.
Right up the.
Go to your right.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, right there.
Oh,
right
I
there.
see.
Yeah.
So just away from the doors, just
Correct.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, just enough away from the door, and you go up through this loft area.
Correct. Yeah, we're ready from the bottom. We have a crawl. We have no basement. We have a crawl space.
Okay.
And we prepare the bottom of the crawl space for foundation, so we could actually install elevator area.
Oh, great idea. Great idea.
Just in case. I'm still young, but you never know.
I get it.
Yeah. And this is our kitchen. So what we decided was, while we went to build a little, try to make a little modern look, European style kitchen from floor to ceiling, all the counters, right? And everything built in. Our fridge and dishwasher, everything is built in. Like beside on the right-hand side, by that oven, you see that one handle, that's actually the fridge and the freezer.
This one?
No, the opposite side.
Over here. This is the fridge here.
Oh, yeah, that's the fridge and freezer, yeah.
Yeah, that's very German, Rudy. I'm detecting a lot of that in your house.
Yeah.
Here's another few pictures of that.
Yeah, this is basically from that back door would be the garage, right? This is from the kitchen door into the little laundry room and a mud room, and then into the garage. Yeah.
So that backsplash, that's glass then?
That's actually tinted glass. Yeah.
Okay, that's very attractive.
Yeah. And then we put a pot filler there as well. So I don't know if not too many people have pot fillers, but this way you actually have a tap right on the top of the stove. You don't have to worry about carrying water across the kitchen, right?
Oh, a tap above the actual stove area here.
Yeah, above the stove, there's actually
Oh, okay. Let me go back. Maybe there's a better picture of that. Yeah, okay. So here's the cooktop here, and then this is a tap directly above the cooktop.
Yeah, and that moves. It swivels, right? You can
to anything there. So you can put a pot down first
anywhere,
and then fill it. That's very smart.
Yeah,
that's very smart. I think this is the last kitchen picture.
Okay.
And we'll move on. Oh no, here's the stove.
Yeah.
Oven, I should say. And here is a classic German toilet in its own room.
This is actually from Australia, so it's the European style, but it's actually made in Australia, called Karoma. It's a wall mount that apparently never supposed to clog, so we'll see.
Well, the wall mount is very common in Germany. It actually leaves the floor area underneath open for cleaning. The other thing is putting the toilet in its own separate room, which allows you to do better ventilation. Both of those are very German.
Yeah.
This is just the vanity in that same washroom, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, and here's your massive mechanical room. This is fun.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
Yeah, mechanical room, I always like to have it nice. I appreciate it if I walk to somebody's house and they have a clean mechanical room, because it just, for me, that's the heart of the house, right?
This is actually one of the entrances to your house as well. There's an actual door into your house right behind this. Here we go. Let's talk about geothermal for a minute.
Yeah. So this is the heat pump. So this is a newer version, one of the top of the line, variable speed, because most of the heat pumps have a dual speed compressor or two-stage compressor. This is actually a variable speed compressor that actually will run from 1 ton capacity to up to 5 to the maximum, right? So it depends how many, if you do in the geothermal in-floor heating, normally we have a buffer tank that we're first creating hot water, and then from the buffer tank, we send the water either to the air handler or to in-floor. But because it can't release the heat fast enough, we need to have a big buffer tank. This actually, because it has a variable speed compressor, I can run any individual zone anytime I want without having any buffer tank. So if let's say the garage would ask for heating, it just comes on without having a preheat purpose. It's way more efficient, and it only runs maybe in 1 or 2 tons, right? So very low speed. And then all of a sudden my upper floor asks for heating. It goes to maybe the 3rd or 4th ton. Okay. And if everything comes on both floors, it will go max to 5.
Wow. Okay. Now, I just want to ask a little bit about geothermal. Now, I understand that you actually provide and install these geothermal systems. Is that right, Rudy?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few more detailed questions about geothermal, if you don't mind.
No.
So, first of all, this is a very unusual system that you are taking your heat source from the pond. That's actually quite unusual, is it not?
Well, not really. It's just in most homes, they don't have the option to have a pond. But anytime we come to the farmers or acreage where a dugout or a pond is available that's more than 12 feet,
okay,
we will actually encourage them to do a pond loop. I've probably done about a dozen pond loops.
Okay.
It's not as common, obviously, but it definitely works. There's 4 ways of doing geothermal, right? There's an open loop,
right,
and a closed loop, vertical and horizontally,
yeah,
and then a pond loop. Those are the 4 basically main 4 rooms. Open loop we don't do very often because the water is very corrosive most places, so we don't like the open loop as much. Plus, you have to be really careful.
So we need to explain that. What happens in open loop is the person is on an acreage typically where they either have they have a source of water like a well, and you actually take the water out of the well, run it through the heat pump, and then you release it either back into the well in another hole or even into the backyard.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're extracting the heat from the water, but then you're not. It's not in a loop. It just goes away.
Yeah.
And then the closed loop systems, you're circulating some kind of liquid. Now, the one I'm most familiar with, and the one we saw in the other 2 homes here today, are the vertical loops. So there's a series of holes drilled in the yard, and the water goes down and returns, and that's how it pulls in. That's how it pulls the heat out of the ground.
Correct. Yeah.
And then the other closed loop is if you have a lot of space, you can actually put the pipes horizontally through the ground. Now they need to go down below frost line, 5-6 feet deep.
But about 8 or 9.
8 or 9, yeah. And you would do that kind of system more on an acreage rather than on a home in town.
Yeah, and home we don't have it physically. We don't have enough space. We have to have a minimum, but usually we tell it can't be less than an acre of lot, right? If it's anything less than an acre, it's not doable horizontally.
Then you have to drill down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then these are different from air source heat pumps. Now, an air source heat pump, it just has a fan coil outside and it extracting the heat from the air. What's different about ground source is that the temperature below ground stays more constant.
Correct. It's pretty much always all year round the same temperature. And because it's so warm, so to speak, we actually have a much better COP, so better coefficient of performance.
Right.
We outperform an air source. There is definitely, I will tell people, air source is a very good way of doing it, and it's much better than a traditional furnace, but it's not nearly as efficient than a ground source.
Right.
But people have to decide too, well, how much you want to spend. A ground source is the most expensive way of doing it, right?
Right.
So
okay.
It really is the most efficient way of about 2 to 3 times, up to 4 times as efficient than an air source.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I wanted to just explore that a little bit while we had our geothermal expert on the line. Here's some of the other features in your house. Tell us about your
this is the
recovery ventilator.
Yeah, this is the HRV because, if you have a tight home like we have, you have to have an HRV for sure. I mean, technically everybody should have it, but especially a very tight home, you can't function without having HRV very well, right? So
that's right. Now here's your air source heat pump here.
Yeah, so this is an air source. So yeah, the Geo is a ground source. This is air source. It's a German designed. It's a real, they call it not a hybrid. Like a lot of time you get a hybrid water heater.
Okay.
They call this specifically say it is not a hybrid because they're totally relying on just on the air. And so yeah, this one will take the ambient room temperature in my house.
Right.
And through Freon actually turn into a hot water, 130, 140 degree water, 80 gallons worth of water. And it's more than enough for us for we never, ever, ever run out of hot water. And just for fun, because the water heater will create cold air.
Cold air.
We actually see a ducting a little bit going through the wall there.
I see that.
And on the other side is my man cave where I have a little bit of a whiskey rack. We call it custom made. So it actually keeps my whiskey chilled.
So you're using your hot water tank to chill your whiskey, your whiskey freezer or fridge or whatever you want to call it.
Freezer, but it sure makes it a little chiller.
That's very fun. That's very fun. Now, here's this back door. So this is actually one of your back doors into the house, and it goes right in the mechanical room. I find that very interesting, but that's obviously why you keep your mechanical room so clean.
Yes, yeah. No, if anybody, for us, we're going to the hot tub or going to the backyard, or anybody, if you have a party, people actually will come in there to go to the bathroom, stuff like that. We'll walk through the mechanical room, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, this corner here is basically a gray water heat recovery. So
Right.
yeah, every time we shower upstairs, and we try to utilize all the free heat that goes in the sewer. Normally, we try to capture it before the cold water will get back to my air source water heater, right? So
Right.
it saves about 20 to 25% of my water. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, here's something fun. Look at this.
Yeah, this is my garage, my man cave. My garage is actually bigger than my house. So we have about close to 3,000 square feet garage. So this is our two obviously our budget has changed by now. The garage is finished. At this time it wasn't finished yet, but we
Right.
have two electric cars. One is a plug-in hybrid. My sports car is a plug-in hybrid.
Right.
But my wife's other one actually is a fully electric. Yeah, it's kind of fun to drive an electric car. Actually, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty fast.
Yeah.
So here's some pictures of your second floor. So that, by the way, that concludes the pictures we have of your first floor, your main floor, and now we're going upstairs to the second floor. So here is that little loft area that we talked about before, and you can see the chains holding it up.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, to your right, you will look down. That would be the living room, and to your left would be our entrance, front end entrance, where on a corner where the gray couch is, kind of that corner where the potential elevator will come in.
Oh, it would go right up in here. I see. Okay, that makes sense. So this would become essentially an elevator access platform in time.
Yeah, and right now it's just more like a seating area, a little TV
Right
area.
in here.
Yeah. So.
You bring it up that wall. Interesting.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Now this shows your two balconies. Now you also have windows up at this level, so this makes this whole space very bright.
Oh, very bright. Yeah, it's very bright. A lot of passive solar. Yeah.
Now, can you tell me why there's a bolster halfway up here? I see this interesting bolster. What's this? What's this putting together?
It's a very unique wall. We have never done that wall before, so I'm probably not going to go too much into it. But because of that, the engineers wouldn't allow us to have a straight wall going up. We had to. That's why the wall on the north side is actually 22 inches wide.
Okay.
And this on the south side, we had to go and put one more extra beam across for reinforcement. I think it was overkill.
Oh, I see.
But they had never seen that type of wall before, so they couldn't wrap their head around it. And so finally, we said we're not going to argue, just tell them what to do. So they asked us to put a beam in between. Yeah.
It's not detracting. So and you've got it matched up with your loft.
Now it's just a little shelf for Christmas decoration stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to put stuff on.
There you go. As long as you have a tall ladder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So here's your windows. These are very European. Tell us more.
Yeah, they're basically like a triple pane window, like a tilt and turn.
Yeah.
So for safety reason, you can actually leave it open all night. If you tilt it backwards, you can leave it open if you wanted to.
Right.
And you cannot break in, right? So they're very sealed, pretty good. They're actually made in Canada, but somebody took the design from Germany and down east and built it for Canadian climate. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And then we can see that beam bolster running along here. It's just, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just a few more pictures, I think, here. And then I think what I want to do is I want to stop for questions because we're running a little late on time. So here's some of the washrooms here. And then your blower door test. And then this is, isn't this Dave?
Yeah.
That's Dave from Greener Homes doing the energy audit. Well done, Dave. And I think we're just about finished with these pictures. And there's your inner guide of 0. Yeah. So Gordon, I'm just going to open it up for questions right now. I'll flip back to other pictures as I've got them. But who else has questions for Rudy here today?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. My goodness, what an interesting house to tour. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled to pieces with the size of the man cave, I must admit.
Yeah.
There's a couple questions coming in, which is great. Why did you not have a full basement? Was it because of the water table?
No, actually, it it was funny. We actually had a plan to have a basement first. And then while we were building, we moved into a modular home. And before we start building, before we start digging, all of a sudden one night I asked my wife, said, when have you been in the basement last time in our previous house? And she said, well, only for laundry. Since the kids moved out, we have never been really spend time in the basement. So all of a sudden we said, you know what? Why are we bothering? We're living in a modular home right now. We don't miss it. We haven't used it. So we basically decided to, just for no real reason, change it. But same token, I thought, just in case there is a water table issue, we will never have to worry about it.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
My understanding is that building above grade is actually cheaper than building below grade, but we all have basements.
Yes.
A really good question. Does the pond stay filled over the summertime?
Yes. Yeah.
And the winter time?
Winter, both. Yeah. We actually, throughout the winter, I can't refill it because I'm hooked up to the irrigation district.
Oh, yes.
Well, I have to wait till April till they open, or May till they open the irrigation, right? So usually over the winter, we lose about 3 feet worth of water.
Ah.
Yeah.
Right.
And how deep again was it at its maximum?
The deep is about 30 feet deep.
Oh, 30 feet. Ah,
yeah.
So you can go diving in it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You put fish in it?
Not yet, but I would like to. I most likely will, yes.
What kind of fish?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know yet. That's exactly why I'm not very familiar with fish, so I need to find an expert to tell me what's good.
Maybe some grayling or something.
Really?
Perhaps not in the pond, Gordon.
Oh, I see. Are the coils in your pond, I think you said that they were sitting on the bottom?
Yeah.
So, not that I mean to be pedantic ever about words in life, but it would seem from a long time ago, from what I remember, that you actually don't have a ground source heat pump, you have a water source heat pump, which is fine.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if you want to look at it that way, yes, yeah.
Yeah, because it gets the heat from the water, which of course gets some heat from the ground underneath, but also lots of heat from the sun heating up the water in the summertime.
That's correct. Actually, correct would be water heat pump, yeah.
So another question that came in, since your heat pump removes heat out of the pond water, do you get a lot of ice forming in the winter?
I never actually checked it 100%, but I do suspect that I have a little more ice than normal pond would have. I know I checked it last winter and I think I had like 19 inches of ice.
Oh, really?
So I assume it's probably a little bit more because I technically, all winter I'm robbing heat out of it. So I probably have a few extra inches. Yeah.
So you could go ice fishing.
Oh yeah. Once you have a fish in there.
Fantastic. What was the cost of the heat pump system?
Mine is a little more than traditionally. The heat pump itself retails around 20 to 22,000.
Oh yeah.
Not including, but there's less plumbing involved. So technically on the end, it's hard. We still new that we haven't done too many yet. I think we've done half a dozen of those new ones now.
Right.
But they're probably about $6,000-7,000 more than traditional heat pumps.
Okay.
But you're eliminating a storage tank and you're eliminating some of the pumps. So in the end, you're probably still going to be a couple $1,000s more. Yeah.
What is the heating capacity of your heating system?
I can heat about 4,000 square feet.
But do you know how many British thermal units per hour?
I have a 60,000 BTU system.
60,000 British thermal units per hour?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Do you have an energy tracking system on your house?
I do, except my system that I bought, it went obsolete, and I can't, for the moment, I cannot track it. I need to install a new one. I had installed one, but the company went belly up, and now I cannot track it anymore. But we had actually hooked up everything. We had it hooked up to our geo, our lights, our water heater. That's why I said our water heater was like $4 a month. So we tracked. We actually put about double as many breakers into our house than traditional homes because we wanted to. Our goal is to track as many components as possible. My wife doesn't like it because I know when she turns the stove on or does her hair, drying her hair or something, we can see it, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely, which is great. Was it a Nurio system that you put in?
No, it was a TED Commander or TED Communication.
Okay. And the brand of your heat pump system, I think, did it say GeoComfort?
Yeah, GeoComfort, yeah.
And your water heater?
The Stiebel Eltron.
Uh-huh.
Stiebel Eltron Acceler 300.
Thank you. Can you tell us more about the tilt and turn windows? I myself have seen them in Germany on friend's house, but can you describe them a little bit more? And who is the manufacturer?
It's Coltech.
How do you spell it?
C-O-L. C-O-A-L?
Can you-
It's C-O-A-L-T-A-C-H, I think.
Okay, thank you.
And we also have them. We also have them available from our sponsor, which is Innotech Windows out of Vancouver.
Ah, cool. So, can you describe how they work?
Well, basically, they have the mechanism that you can have it on. If you turn a lever one way, it opens the hinges on one side. You can open like a normal one to escape.
Yeah.
And if you tilt the other way, it changes the hinges and basically only releases the hinge on top and locks it in at the bottom. So you tilt it from the top, so it actually will be, the top will be open, about 6 inches, roughly 6-8 inches.
Yeah.
And then the bottom will be tight. So basically you cannot reach in for safety wise, you can't reach in and get the handle. It's not wide enough to get the handle in there to move it. And you can't, even if you can get your hand in, unless you close it again, you cannot change the position.
Ah.
So just for a little breeze at night, it's nice to open up and not worrying about somebody trying to crawl in there, right?
Okay.
And with the top open, you can actually have windows open when it's raining.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you put blinds on them?
Yes. I have actually blinds. Obviously since then we have put blinds on, and you see the window on your right hand side is open.
Yeah.
So there's still a gap on the windowsill on top where the blinds will be installed. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See what I can find here.
And way on top, the top windows that we had, since then we actually installed the remote blind, so we can close it if we don't want the sun coming in certain times. We actually can close it, and at night we can close to keep people even more extra buffer between the window. And yeah, all the top windows are, it's just they're so tall I can't get to it, so we put remote ones on there.
Right.
But those aren't openable at all.
No, the top are not open up. Just one we can reach from the bottom. Yeah.
You know, that I love tall ceilings like that. It just makes me want to put in a tall tropical tree and perhaps have a hanging hammock way up there.
Yeah. So normally for efficiency wise, tall ceilings are actually not the best way of doing it. But I don't know if you can see the picture on the right beside the front door. We actually installed 2 returns air way on top, like 30 feet up. So every time the heat pump comes on or the fan comes on, it actually will suck the heat from the top down. Because I don't like fans blowing in the house. So our return air actually, I can't remember if I took a proper picture from that, but it has actually 2 return air on right beside.
Stand by.
Yeah.
I think I can find it. Hang on.
Way on top, you see the little grill by the light, the way on top of the left corner?
Yes.
That's one of them.
That's
over here?
Way up at the top.
Oh, okay. Just give me a second.
And I want to say I love your bedroom balcony overlooking it. That's
a little character, right?
Oh, it's magnificent. It's magnificent.
Sorry, I'm using your virtual walkthrough to try to bring that picture up, but I'm just having a bit of a struggle getting it to open where I want it. There we go. Okay, now I can change the picture, and there are the vents up there. So there's the vents up here, right?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Right. So those are at the 30-foot mark then.
They're about a 30-foot high, roughly. Yeah. So the ceiling is right from the front all the way up. It slopes, steady slope.
Yeah.
So all the heat basically will travel to that corner, and because both sides are slopes, and then we just recycle that heat back into the system. So yeah.
Okay, so that goes back into the air handler.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It goes to the HRV or the furnace.
Yeah, AHRV and for the heat pump. Yeah.
Question came in, how does the cooling effect work with your pond and the geothermal in terms of temperature?
Beautiful. I can freeze my house pretty much. So even in the bottom of the pond, it's still, even in the middle of summer, it's still going to be cool, so to speak, right? Well, basically, we're still running it through the compressor, but in reality, that water is cold enough to, if we could have had a way of just transferring that cold water to the house, would be already cold enough to keep the house nice and comfortable.
You wouldn't make ice though in the pond, would you? In the
Oh, with the compressor, yes. I can actually make it, I can turn it down to as cold as you want, but then your system will work very hard.
But could you actually make ice in your pond in the summer?
No. That's way too, yeah, my system's way too small for that. No.
Oh, okay.
You're actually pushing heat to the pond when you're cooling the house. So no, you wouldn't be able to freeze the pond.
Oh, yes, of course.
So let me just wrap this up, Rudy, and congratulate you on winning the Built Homes, the Energy Efficient Housing Award in 2018. This is from Build Lethbridge Board of Directors. How interesting. Well done.
We got 3 awards from the best build price in the price range, and Lethbridge the most efficient, and net zero home of all Alberta. 2019, we took the #1 of all Alberta net zero home. Yeah.
Well done, Rudy. Thank you very much for showing your home today. We're just going to wrap up, or we're done our time for today. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for being on the tour. I also want to thank once again our Lethbridge sponsors. I can just get the slide to come up. There we go. Whoops, too far. Our Lethbridge sponsors, Innotech Windows, Solar Club, Greener Homes, and Camrose Energy. Of course, sponsorship allows us to make the Echo Solar Home Tour free for everyone, and it allows us to put the public in contact with the people who are making these incredible energy efficient homes. So thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to our homeowners for volunteering their homes for the tours. Well, folks, that completes our 2021 online Echo Solar Home Tour. Now, today's tour recording will be posted on our website as soon as we can get it ready. You can still send questions to info@ecosolar.ca. If we didn't answer your question today and you'd still like to get your question answered, please send it to info@ecosolar.ca and we will get back to you. That's all. Thank you for attending today, and thank you for being part of the Echo Solar Home Tour.